See how much I can remember this. Tear the roof off together, tear the roof off the motherfucker, tear the roof off the sucker. Tear the roof off together, tear the roof off the motherfucker, tear the roof off the sucker. Good evening. All right, all right. Okay. Okay. I guess I'll get started. My name is Eight Wind is Timeless. I'm also called a Time Lord. I'm also called Dad, Uncle, Friend, my man. I am the holder of the continuous ball game created by the Hero Twins. And it definitely all starts with a gentle sadness. But I am still the galactic daddy-o sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. And we definitely have a sponsor. We're doing it with Guinness tonight. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. And I just wonder, I love these acid brand cigars. And all of their cigars to smoke are sweet. Now, some of these cigars can cost quite a bit of money, but it just still makes me wonder because they're pretty much taking this. They're taking like the Swisher Sweets and all that stuff out of the off the market. And where I live, that started before they even talk. Like right now, they're gonna take all the e-cigarette stuff where I live out. Doesn't mean people can't go to other places, but where I live, yeah, they're removing all that stuff. So I'm gonna have to get some boxes of this stuff. Mm, I love the bitter. I really love the bitter. All right, so who's hanging so far on this beautiful Tuesday morning? Brother James, what's happening? I don't know about that. I just do my thing. Hey, Denise, thank you for joining me. The one, Aggie Pride. Oh my goodness. Um, OG James, what's happening? PJ, how's moving through? Uh gosh, more. Wow. Well, thank everybody. Oh my goodness. Further down, necessary evil. What's going on, Antoine? Uh, Miller High Life for me in Newport. Miller is the champagne of beers, no doubt. Of Like if it's just beers, I love just regular Miller High Life, just regular. I like those. I like Pabst Blue Ribbon though as well. I don't know if people remember, and I liked the Michigan beer was what was it called? Shell Strobes. Strobes. I think it was called Strobe beer. Let me keep thinking. Yeah, it's like Strolls, German name, Strolls. That because they both made the fat quarts. People used to get quarts of beer. If you didn't get a six pack, you just got a quart. The quarts was before the 40s and the double deuces, you know. So, but I think they own Lanny Coogan. So all them Lanny Coogan people that's really owned by the Miller people, I believe. But I like Budweiser is bought by Estella. They bought by them. People in St. Louis don't they the Bushes. Yeah, it's the same family, same Bushes. Uh, they sold that years ago. Tell you what though, that Ostella, that regular beer is nasty. Oh, I don't like their regular beer. But this winter, they came out with a little extra, and I only was able to get one six pack. It's some of the best beer I ever had, as far as a amber lager almost. I mean, it's almost like the perfect blend. It's like in a way, for some people, this would be burnt just a little too much, as far as the taste that's left, the burn malts a little bit. And it's not that it's burnt, it's just a little darker malt, a little heavier malt, where that was like the perfect combo. And they only made it for a short period of time. But I like the Budweiser, what they made. What did they make? They made that amber like beer last year, like 1920. Yeah, they quit making it. But that was a good beer. I have to think of what it's called. Antoine Graham, what's happening? Blue Moon. Blue Moon is weak though. I mean, you drink all them and it's like 4 point something. It's a very low alcohol beer. But Blue Moon with any citrus, outstanding. Like Arcadia Brewery, the one I used to work with, they made a thing called Whitson that was a type of orange, a true orange in the brew, or orange peel. I think the flavors come out a little better, and it was one of the better of that without being a hazy, because most beers are like hazy, and without being hazy, uh, it was pretty balanced. And then cherries, Michigan is known for cherries, and they used to bring these cherries from the area. The best cherries in the country supposedly. What I'm addicted to is the dried cherries. And they ain't really dry, but they're like candy. I eat bags of that shit. Natural sugar. Ethan says he's drinking Blue Moon. Good. My grandfather got me to hip to Lowenbrow. Well, Lowenbrow was by Miller, and but Lowenbrow had one called Lowenbrow Dark. That was a good beer. I prefer the Lowenbrow Dark to that. And what's funny about Lowenbrow, just like in North Carolina, like the people that worked at Lorillard's, they got something like, and I know this is an astronomical number, but if I'm not mistaken, they got something that was equivalent to a case of cartons. They was given, I don't know how many cartons was in the case, but that's what they was given. I think it was once a week. Now I could be wrong because they was only selling them for 50 cents. But I bring that up because one of my teammates somewhere in North Carolina was a brewery or where they bottled. And one of my partners like didn't drink beer, and they got a case of beer every week. And so he always brought it to me, and he asked me like, "What?" He's like, "I know you like Lauren, bro. What you want, light or dark?" And like all summer, he brought me a case of beer all summer. Case of beer, case of Lowenbrow all summer, like every Friday, every Saturday. Grey Goose on the rocks. Oh, okay. I like a little bit of everything, but I've always liked Scotch, and I like rye too. I like rye whiskey. Just sipping, I like the malts, and in the white liquor you don't get that. Can a regular person start a brewery? Michelob Dark too was good. They quit making that. Michelob, and it was Michelob Dark too. and I like Michelob. Yeah, I mean, you can. I should do that this summer. I should make a. Well, my internet's all goofy now, but um, yeah, I could do a video on where we could just make the beer. Like if you have space, that's the thing. You can make your own beer just to start. That's really how you teach yourself is to get a little kit. You can get them little kits. Get the little kit, and the kits have everything in them. And then after you do a kit, then you have to learn, get more, make it just a little bigger if you have the room, and make it a little bigger and teach yourself. But yeah, I mean, the thing is yes, but the thing is you got to learn how to do it, and you got to really understand beer gravity, because gravity is how you do um how strong. Like some of those beers, like I had somebody put a Facebook, one of my cousins had a husband, and like I helped him move in. Like they ain't had there was no men to help them move in, and so it was just him. And so I was there, and maybe my boy was old enough. Maybe I think the boys was kind of old enough. If I think back, little boys could help just take stuff in the house. I think they was old enough, so it was just me and him, and we cleared their truck out and moved in. And it was like he ain't know nobody, and we both hooped, and we both was get off work. We both worked third. And so I would go over there, we would play pool, and then we would drink some 40s. And we would like take a little nap and shit. We would, it was just but we was cool. And then they moved. They lived there about a year, and then they moved, and I never saw him. And I heard the cat had passed. But we used to drink steel. He would have like like the first time I went over there, I brought beers, like some 40s or something. Or maybe he asked me to bring some steel. I forget. But he liked drinking that shit. And we would drink it early in the morning, like 8, 9 o'clock. We'd be drinking that shit, smoking some weed. Ugh. Like my son discovered what a 40 of slip malt liquor, or no, 40 of Colt 45. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. And I'll say this for menthol, Colt 45. Again, the 90s was double deuces. I mean, it was a thing where boys in the hood and Van Nuys, dudes won the 40s. But really, the 90s switched to double deuces. They was cheaper, and it was the same beer, but you just got one for $1 or so. And it was like when you was at the park, you didn't have this big, huge bottle. Or even for the people to drive, you didn't have this huge 40. You had this little slim bottle. And so going to the parks and just going to people's houses, it was easier just to, instead of carrying a bunch of these big 40s, to carry some double deuces. And so that's people drink double deuces, but they had one with mint in it. They had a Colt 45. Again, it's malt liquor. All these fruited things is mostly malt liquor. And it was mint. It was mint. It was like beer and mint. So like the seltzer stuff with beer, they've always had that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think of Champagne. The seltzer stuff, Champagne is very close. People remember that. It's supposed to be the champagne, but beer is malt liquor. Oh, Dustin, what's up, babe? We're already looking forward to the show. I crash tonight. Love the Well, thank you, Dustin. uh, but yeah, I have to do that. Why moonshine is banned? It was about taxes. It was banned because of taxes. That was the main thing. Is the government once the government prohibition gave a rise to it, it put the people in power. They knew it was going to be in power. It wasn't like it was a counter move. A lot of the politicians worked with these gangsters to get their pockets lined. And would be, what do you think the Great Gatsby is telling you? The rich people never stopped drinking. They never stopped drinking. They had parties. What did they tell you? Kennedy was running shit from Scotland. I don't know if this is true today, but this was true at one time. All the scotch that came into America, the Kennedys still made money on it. Now, there's the things that old Joe was a bootlegger, which he did own distilleries. I don't, him being a bootlegger, he owned the businesses, he owned that shit. But into late in my life, they were still getting money off scotch. So it was just the regular man that had to scramble, couldn't go to the bars. They didn't close the whorehouses. Whorehouses was still operating during the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. Wasn't until the 70s they started cracking down on just where it'd be places in the neighborhood. I mean, that's something in my lifetime where there was whole houses. And I remember the little town where my I was born, where my dad grew up in really Southwest Michigan. And there was a little place, these little old houses, but they was somebody pimp had set up a little place. So, hey, Crazy Sarge, what is happening? Antoine Graham, still, oh yeah, Billy D. Ivor kept the 22 of St. Ives. Yeah, yeah, St. Ives moved to 22s too because they couldn't compete. King Dot, what's happening? Dr. Sinister, what's going on? The NASCAR roots is from moonshining. Yeah, well, I mean, even before that, like one thing Bonnie Clyde and Dillinger did, they got them VA cars. When they knew they would be chased, they had stronger engines. And so that's where it came. And North Carolina kept that. And the roads was kind of like where they could outrun them for spots. It'd be straightaways. Just if you blow by them and blow in front of them so far where you could just get away. You could, if they could stay with you doing like 400 or yeah, for the 400 meters, 400 whatever they raced, the 400 something, and you just get away. So that's what the gangsters did. Watch Dillinger, but it was the V8, the Ford V8, and it was only like maybe 140 horsepower, but it would get them away from them. Yep. Hey, Antoine, if I didn't say what's up, the last term item say Friday night. Watch them bring back low beer. No, they're getting rid of low beer. They're pushing low beer out. This is the last state that uses the low beer. Yeah, this is the last state, and they're about to stop bringing it here because at the games, that's what they would give you. They would give you the fucked up cheap stuff. Not even the near beer. They would charge you astronomical prices, and you getting the lowest gravity or the lowest, beer, 3.2 or 6. Utah was the last other state. Now we the only state, and they said they're about to quit shipping them here. So they're gonna be having to sell the regular. They sell liquor. They sell liquor at these places, and they ain't cut liquor, but they sell beer, and it's the cheaper beer. So make that make sense. But yeah, NASCAR definitely. If you look back in history when they did the first Daytona 500s, man, they was damn near racing just around oval around the beach. Which family is richer, the Bushes or the Kennedy? The Kennedy's money is older. The Kennedy's money is older because Kennedy was like he got most of his fortune in the preteens. He got his fortune. What is this sticking me? Something's sticking me. He got his money like in the teens. And the Bushes really didn't get money till World War II. That's really what started their money was World War II. With the Bush, W's dad worked for the Nazis, and his father-in-law, I think his name might have been Douglas, but they worked for the Nazis like the whole time. And I don't know about the whole time, but like from the 20s, late 20s until World War II in the 40s. It wasn't until 42 or 43 they made them stop trading for the Nazis. They were still working for the Nazis, and then they took the company, but then paid them both handsomely, something like 3 or 4 million each, when they should have been in prison for treason. So the Kennedys is richer. I mean, there was a thing about the Kennedy children. Every Kennedy children already had a trust of $1 million just being born a Kennedy. That went around for a long time. I don't know how true that is, but it's probably pretty true that it was a trust fund set up. And I've watched how these people planned. And like with my own family, like I've told this story before. My stepmother's father asked me, he's like, when my son was born, he told me, he said, he's like, well, this would be my first grandchild. We're so excited. We're gonna say announce it in church. It's gonna be in the church record. That's what he told me too. He said it's gonna be in the church record that this is our grandson. I just forgot about that part, but that's what he was. He said we making a church announcement, and announcements are recorded. And he said that he's gonna say his name, that Brian, my son, and also he set up a trust fund. And I know he set them up for my brothers, my two brothers and my sister, but he said he's gonna set up one for him. So I was like, that sounds solid. But this was how long he had planned. He had planned for his future. And I know the thing was set up for my other son as well. So That's how people operate. Too bad, other people can't do it. I want to throw this out there. Church is powerful for them, and then listening to the old family history, they changed their names and sent their kids up for life. The Kennedy curse in these, I don't know. In these, it could be the supreme sacrifice. I'm trying to think. Was it Honey Fitz? One of them. Trying to think which one of them, like the Fitz, because Fitzgeralds, because that's who married them. The Fitzgeralds married into them, and so Rosa's family, if I'm not mistaken, was Fitzgerald, and I think it was something that happened to one of the Fitzgeralds because they was mayor of Boston or some shit. But I don't know. I mean, Kit and Joe Kennedy, Joe Jr. That shit with Joe Jr. It's not believable. It's just not believable. Nobody in their right mind is gonna get in a goddamn remote control plane back in the day. I just there's no way that story is believable. Now, if they murdered him, could be. And then we know the other daughter they call Kit. She got killed and never made it back to America. She crashed somewhere in Europe. If you look up Kit, she was probably the prettier one, but the girl that they supposedly made that lobotomy on, if that story's real, you just gonna let a motherfucker operate on your daughter and go into her head. Well, I think we can go up in there and I mean, he had a daughter that was basically slow. And she started liking men. And she was just hanging out, being a young woman. And they used that against her and institutionalized her. And then did a lobotomy on her that they say took her out. That's some cold shit. That's some cold shit. So I don't know. Then he got hit with a stroke right at the peak of his power. They hit old Joe with a stroke. And Joe, look him up. He was a pimp. Shit, he was like Howard Hughes, making movies and shit. He bought a movie studio. Kennedy, you can look up Kennedy's movies. He was like, what's his name? Howard Hughes. All the motherfuckers was out there making movies, being on them Hollywood hoes. Gloria Swanson. Shit, he supposedly the ones that taught all his boys the pimp game. You can look up Fitzgerald Kennedy. He broke his back. His dumbass. He was so inept of doing a boat. He got ran over by like a battleship. This little boat basically got ran over, which is how. Like they see you and just you have to really be inept to get ran over by a battleship. And so it fucked up his back. He had a fucked up back most of his life. But there's stories when he would, because they was bugging him and all this shit. They was bugging him when he was a senator. And he would just fall for it, meeting with Nazi chicks and shit. And then him and Sam Giancana was messing with the same chick. So, I mean, this man was all the way compromised. If you follow the story, he had been compromised since he had been in the service. So, I don't know. The stories make you wonder. But that's why, like, if you look at the assassination, one thing that would fit with what was wrong with him was supposedly he gets shot in the back first, and he kind of winces. Or wait, no, the first one, yeah, the first bullet supposedly comes through his throat, and then and then he supposedly was shot in the back after that. So that's when he supposedly put his arms down. But one thing that would ring true is he couldn't fall all the way over because he had a back brace on. And that's one part that is true. Whatever happened there. But he had a back brace on. So, and then later you see when he fell, he had to like totally lay down. Supposedly, when they pull in, there's pictures of his feet. So he couldn't just fall over with his legs on the ground because of the back brace. He could have only sprawled over. Sprawled. How do y'all like that word? Sprawled over. Had an affair with Gloria Swanson. Yeah, Jeff kids allegedly like kids too. Well, Ivor, he liked his children. Hey Sky, thank you for joining me. Hey Jody. Torched his nose. Did you see that? Jeff Key torched his nose. Junior torched his nose. Nah, I didn't see that. Sky torched his nose. Nah, I didn't see that. That fatal shot came from a manhole. That's a little bit of what's his name's work. Mars. I think it's like this. It was a TV show. Wasn't nothing about that shit real. And all the, I mean, again, look at where they started to spell. Look at where they started to spell. They started to spell conspiracy theory for the people that didn't agree with Warren. That was a spell that anytime you don't agree with the government or the norm, they got something to throw at you. I mean, I know a lot of people, if you listening to me and got any free thinking, you got to see that. And then just procedure. He gets interviewed by the police without anybody taking notes. Impossible. Then you bring him out in front of the press, you show the gun. And if you listen to Mark Lane's book, there was 2 guns found. This is how sloppy it was. There were 2 guns found. There's the Italian Mannlicher and there's the German Mauser. You can look in the reports. There was 2 guns, but later the Mannlicher is the only gun you hear about. And then he supposedly left a bullet in the bed. And then there are pictures. They're supposed to be the autopsy pictures. There's no way that's a real person. It's just no way. And it's funny. I've seen the real pictures of it, and the back of the head. And then I saw another book that had drawings of the shit. I'm like, this shit it's not believable. It's like that Emmett Till head. That ain't believable. The whole story, really, if you think of it, that the Southerners were just bloodthirsty. Not to say they didn't. I don't know. It's just a part of it just doesn't seem real. What the finished thing that they put together, and it was a fear program. It really was. It was a fear program. And it made me think, and I might have talked about this last week, seeing that stuff on CNN about 1980, a dude got hung. It's like, wow, okay. You're going to keep this fear program going. So, okay. Thank you, Antoine. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Jody. Siova, there's my dog. That's a bad man right there. Siova, I ordered it. Yeah, it'll be here either Saturday. I ordered last night, so either Saturday or next Wednesday. But yeah, it'll be here. So I'm gonna have you on the show, and you help me how to put it together. Tell me how much that'll cost me. All propaganda. Yeah, I mean, it's all propaganda. That's my thing. It's all propaganda. I mean, look how often they put that thing through. They want you to believe that they killed Malcolm, just killed him. Like, okay. They want you to believe that they killed King. And King, again, the study of killing King is very interesting because according to the autopsy, it was like the perfect shot. A shot that went through his jaw and severed his spine. I mean, it couldn't be more of a perfect shot. Okay. And then Bobby Kennedy, they arrest the dude who's shooting from the front when he clearly got shot from the back. And there is a person that testified that he saw a security guard shoot him in the back of the head. So a lot of this stuff is just not so believable in a lot of ways. It seems agenda driven. It seems fear driven. And I'm going to repeat this again. I heard them say that John Kerry, that is what, Secretary of State now, when he was in college or just left, came back from Vietnam, or even maybe before he went, this dude was meeting with North Vietnamese people. Then he later goes and fights in the army in South Vietnam. But he had one time met with these people. And then he's the one that speaks to Congress about U.S. soldiers, this skull and bones dude. He grew his hair like to his ear. When the norm was to grow above your ear, so he let his hair grow. Here's this dude, and then later he's in politics. So it was all a setup. You know, he's the one that put the thing of the U.S. being baby killers, not telling the whole story. So, hey, Napturo, what's happening? Thank you for joining me. Caesar, dang, you Caesar killed RFK. Dang, Eugene Caesar. Yeah, I ran across that name too, Ivor. I did. I ran across that name. Email me. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have that sucker. I'm gonna order it. Where'd it go? Oh, GCH. Cool. I'm a tech dude too. I mean, not as much as I used to be, but I still love the stuff, and yeah, look forward to getting into it. I'm going to get a new background, and I love having this energy. But I found something that's just I don't know if I'll use it forever, but I just think I'm gonna use it for a minute. Uh, it's kind of cool, and it's energy that I kind of keep around me, and so I've got to figure out how to do it. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun, and the presentation I think is helps. I think it helps. I feel bad. I didn't have the awakened one. I feel bad, but again, I still want to give her. I want to make her presentation the best. So I've still been trying to put ideas that help her to just make it all go better. That's all. Hey Valerie, thank you for joining me. So what's happening? Most powerful family. This they're so intertwined now that to say one group, they purposely put them names out there just to make you focus that energy there. That's all that is to put that energy there. It's so many different names now, but is you saying it's a group of the same powers? Absolutely, but the powers grow over the years, so you have to keep that in consideration. So the names change, the faces, they don't care about that. Not the true powers. They just make moves, and the world just moves. They push, and the world shakes. They even lied about Hitler killing himself. He actually lived. I mean, I'll say this, Ivor, it's possible. Definitely they didn't kill him. Now, where he went, I really couldn't say. Again, the boys in the Brazil, about 2 years ago, maybe three now. I know I was doing shows, so it was like around 16, 17. But they found stashed away in this big old house. They found the Nazi room in Brazil. Now that could be for the propaganda, the Nazis going there. It's a lot of work that points that a lot of the Nazis just came into the Americas. You did. A lot of Nazis just came into the Americas and got jobs, and they would give them up oddly. I've told the story before. Nazis, I know for a fact, worked for Kellogg's and Post because the Nazis was brought over to Michigan. They was kept at Fort Custer, named after Custer because Custer came from Michigan, and so the Nazis they was making them clean up around Battle Creek. And when it came time the end of the war, the Nazis, a lot of them just stayed. These soldiers, there was, I can't tell you how many, but I bet I can find that out. But it was enough it was enough where, it was a substantial amount, and a substantial amount went into Post and Kellogg, stayed. So a lot of other ones was coming over here. So they say South America, but a lot of them was here too. A lot of them was here too. So, yeah, it's nothing big. It's not going to be like it's blue screen, but it's just see if I can pull it off. Just enough of it show. It's just some art. I love certain type of art. Antarctica. Yeah, I don't know about that. What would have been up there? I laughed when they created that show, Searching for Hitler. Yeah, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. Like one thing we know is, and this is something you can look up. It was like one plane that went in there. One plane landed on the street, and it took off. And they say the pilot said, "Come on, I'm taking you. Let's go." And Hitler said, "No, I'm just gonna stay in the basement while they all come through." He got out even much earlier than that. But that's about the best story if you want to see, because a dude did do that. A dude did land right in the middle of near the bunker in Berlin, and he took back off and then he shoot him down. So yeah, they never caught him. It wasn't interesting catching him. The rush was to see who could do what scientists. And the Americans got the most scientists. That's Nazi. It's the same thing. It was a mocking of the people. Oppenheimer. What did they call it? What was the rocket called? The Mercury. Wasn't the rocket called the Mercury? The Mercury rocket. And they made you think if they put you on top of these bombs, it could give you enough propulsion. It could give you enough propulsion that would shoot you into space. Once you got through, apparently nothing, you get there and you can get into going around in circles. The gravity will take you in circles. And while you gravity, you can shoot a little spud off of you that could just land on one part of the moon. And you could do shit. They had a car up there. Took some golf clubs. They was driving a car around and shit. How did that little thing was able to put that heavy car up there with them heavy batteries? And then to tell you the little spud could go back up there and hit this thing that was going around like just perfectly. You know, like a aircraft carrier. It's like, let me know where you're at, and then you could just go back up there and hook right to it. First time, you only had one shot. And then they was able to break out the gravity, have enough fuel to shoot it back toward the planet. These some bad motherfuckers. Why can't they do that shit today? That shit's worse than having $1 million with the Wright brother plane. They couldn't make the motherfucker fly. And shit, that was only probably about 50, 60 years from when they was doing this shit. These motherfuckers 50 years ago said they did some shit with a bomb. And that they had this calculation. And even the sisters helped. Well, we needed these intelligent sisters, It wasn't a believable enough story with just all these NASA guys. You had to believe these sisters. These sisters are genius. Remember, they put the sister stuff in the Mars movie with Matt Damon at first. They had the brother, Glover. They had him play that character. I think, and I could be wrong, but he was playing them women. He used the same logic that they used. So I don't know. I mean, the space shuttle blew up. That shit tripped me out because I had just met Ron McNair. I mean, literally months before, we got to go meet Ron. Ron Aggie, the one to know. Ron McNair went to A&T. We could go up to Ron and what's happening, Ron? Nice to meet you, man. Ron sat there with his wife, shook everybody's hand. And this was what, 85, 86? It was like that. It was it's like his bust was there. I used to go to football practice. I had to go by his bust every day because one of the engineering buildings has his bust and it's right there. And the football field is just across the street on the highway. Or, not the highway, but through one of the throughways through college, to school. So, I look at this thing, it's like, wow, it's this young cat, late 30s, maybe. Maybe slightly older. Paperclip. Yep. They told us some bullshit about that moon landing. Yeah, it was total bullshit. The stage is already set for Allen Iverson. Yeah, you think Iverson is on the clock? There aren't any real pictures of Earth or outer space. It's all Freemasonry trickery. Yeah, I agree. Yes, Jay. What's happening, Jay? Dodge, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Yeah, I saw stuff had went positive today. This was interesting. Tuesday, when I took my daughter to Egan, which is basically about 14 miles away, maybe if that. The gas prices was higher there than down here where I'm at. For a long time, those prices were always lower, but they were lower here than they were there. And then I got gas yesterday. No, maybe I did get gas Tuesday. So I got cheaper gas here. But I noticed today our prices went up from 264 to 279 today. And Speedway give you 3 cents off, but it was like a big jump because I paid what 61. I paid 261 Tuesday. Yeah, yes, yeah, Tuesday, right? And yeah, so in a day it went up that much. But gas, I saw gas was up to $64 a barrel. So still was trying to like, So I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting. Gold went up today too. Gold went up. So did silver. The only thing that didn't go up is copper. Now I'll tell you a business that it seems like it might be coming here. Um, they say that here in Minnesota we have one of the biggest natural copper reserves in the country. They said maybe the world, and they what they expect is the need for copper is going to the demand looks like it's going to go up again. It lost today, but the forecast is what they're saying is like in what is the South Dakota they fracking, so that just put all that money down there in South Dakota went from the uh, 60th 70th top oil gas natural gas and oil to number two. Y'all know that South Carolina. I think it's South Carolina where they're fracking, or North Dakota. I mean North Dakota or South Dakota. So it might be South Dakota. I forget. It's one or the other. But the fracking allowed them to, again, natural gas. They're the number two state for natural gas and gas. Well, they say that if they open up these mines up there, let them start working for this copper, then we're going to have that kind of boom that they had down there. And we knew people. This is how great it was down there. We knew people that was buying, they call them fifth wheelers. A lot of people have them at the lakes around here. They keep it all year at the lake and then lock it up. And while the lake is open, they live down there, or visit weekends or however it goes. But it was people taking that shit down there, renting, like they would rent where they could get power and have their bathroom hooked up, and people was renting that shit, giving them and making crazy money, paying the lot, and then they would, as these people work in the gas industry, because they was filling up all the apartments, all the houses, the hotels was staying full, so people was renting them out to people, to workers, making nice little money. Then he had to live down there. So it looks like this might be a good opportunity. So I'm gonna keep my eye open to see if any kind of any kind of that starts coming. I'll definitely try to invest in that. They say that future looks so good. I think they're over polluting space with all these so-called. They're going up every other day. It's such a thing as space pollution. Well, the one is more than that. What they was talking about last year, um, people was like looking up in the skies and was like, "What is this? There's new stars up there." And supposedly the ones that the Teslas is shooting up in the skies, they're pink, and now they look like a lot of the stars, which could show a lot of this good. Flat Plane talks about that shit's fake up there. But they admitted that people was looking through telescopes and seeing that shit, and they're saying that's what it is. But they was people reporting that they was seeing it looking like stars. And Tesla and them saying because they're supposed to be shooting up like 60 a month. Yeah, since 2000, like maybe the end of December, right before the year turned, they were supposed to shoot something like 60 some a month. So and then remember, China had one. Did that land yet? China had one that supposedly went crazy, and they was expecting it. They didn't know where it was about to land. So maybe I was just trying to bring up how most of it is not all astronauts are Masons as well. At least the ones they want you to know about, of course. And the funny thing about it is they wouldn't let them out and shit. But the stupidest thing is they had Richard Nixon call a motherfucker. Richard Nixon talked to the astronauts. Do you dig what I'm saying? In 1968, he apparently talked to a motherfucker that was in space. through the radio controls, of course. It was some bullshit. It was some bullshit. It's one of the biggest hoaxes around. And all that bread we gave them. That's why they broke that shit up. They couldn't justify it. The fuck is, what the fuck really is the space shuttle doing? If it ain't taking motherfuckers just, I mean, it was a big waste of money. Made a lot of people rich. A lot of these air companies was part of that stuff and supplying them with those, they had to buy the rockets from somebody. How can one believe anything about astronauts? When in the Navy, I could have applied for my astronaut badge since there was no qualifications for it. There you go. There you go. Well, thank you, Anise. Yes, hit this like if you don't mind. When he brought up the shuttle exposure, made me wonder if they know they're about to get sacrificed. Or was it faked? Because people have showed up with pictures they think is them. Yeah, using the landline, crazy Sarge. Look that shit up. You can see it. He talking to these motherfuckers. Landline to space. Yeah, you cannot patch a call into their radio system, and it's just impossible. The shit was like beyond impossible. It's just some stupid shit. But it made Russia because they got the better scientists. I mean, that's the war. Like what's his name? Let me see. What's his name? Let me get this right. Yeah, Jordan Maxwell was saying, talking about I forget what my point was, but he just this is what he was gonna say. Is he said he saw he was on what is it again, Jody? What's his name? Killer Priest. He was on Killer Priest show, and he was saying he was seeing space saucers and shit, but I mean that ain't nothing. They was doing them space saucers in World War II. There's plenty of information out there that they were seeing that shit then. They just couldn't use it to. I mean, again, they had the jets. Shit, look, read what them American pilots said the first time they went. One of them jets went by. They thought that thing was a UFO, and there was only a few of them. It was nothing else like it. It was nothing else like it. So that shit's been around, and you can even study the Bell technology, which means, I fuck with a lot of sounds, and I understand how sound you can move through space-time, through sound. That's easy to understand. And so that they could build this type of bell, I would not doubt that they could move through space-time. And this is, of all this, and I've said this many, many times, the Nazis did not lose World War II. They didn't lose. They did not lose. They operated under different names. They was forced to do that, but they didn't lose. That's the reality. In every war, there's a lot of, again, why would a good old boy in Mississippi give a fuck about what happened in Pearl Harbor? Your life is so different than the people that get to go over there on vacation. And that's what it was used for. It's a vacation spot. What else the fuck did they want that area for? Yeah, okay, they said they can keep some of the Navy there, and it could take you to Midway and protect, that document of discovery. Oh, what's his name again? He said this too. I agree. He gave this up. What's his name again? Jordan Maxwell. Yeah, he said this. He talked about the document of discovery too, and that was on point. That was on point. The document of discovery, like they think they own every soul, every rock, everything. They think they own that. That goes into the Christian cult, which really is the Jewish faith people's religion. I mean, again, all the conversos was mostly Jewish faith people too, and that's who really runs that. But he did give this word up, which was worth it. And Jody, I'm not going to say the things that I text you, so don't worry. That was between me and you. That's my opinion. So I'll keep that silent, but I'll give this word up. What he said, this shit was, maybe I'll type it out so y'all can look this shit up for yourself. because the root word is another word. Yeah, right here is the real word. Right here. This is the word it's based off of. I'm gonna put this in here so y'all can look this up yourself. I had to ask Julia to spell this shit because I was looking this shit up. So Jody, I ain't gonna spit, but all of it wasn't, it was cool. All of it was cool. And then that old boy, whoops. But here we go. And then I'll break down the meaning. I thought that was a nice gem because I see how that could be used. Spell it right. This is the word. Now he pronounced, but the real word is this is what I'm about to put in. Because I first was trying to find the word in I've got the first edition on the ebook, but I have the 7th edition, or this is the 8th edition. This is the deluxe edition. And so the word he gave up was alodio, but the word is allodium. That is how it really is put in business. Now, allodio in itself means held in absolute ownership pertaining to allodium. See, and maybe I spelled it wrong. Shit. Allodium. Yeah, the word is allodium. I spelled it wrong. Let me spell it right. Okay, let me try again, guys. This is some great information. I know I spelled it wrong. Okay, allodium. A-L-L. I still didn't spell this shit right. Here. It's I in there somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay, here's the word. I'm sorry. Yes. Allodial titles are hard to find. Yeah, allodium. Allodium is the word. So again, it means the term allodio originally has no necessary reference to the mode which the ownership of land has been conferred. It simply meant land held in absolute ownership. We don't have that here. That's why they say it can tax your land. If you don't pay the taxes, they can take it from you. Not in dependence upon any other body or person to whom the proprietary rights were supposed to reside, or when the professor of land was bound to render service. It would thus properly apply to the land which the original settlement had been allotted to the individuals, while bookland, primarily applicable to land, the title to which rested on a formal grant. So do you see it? Bookland from a grant. Before long, however, the words appear to have been used synonymously to express land held in absolute ownership. The subject of free disposition, and then the reference would be Keeneland E. Digby, Introduction to the History of the Law of Real Property, 5th edition, 1897. And again, allodium is the word. In this country, one has full ownership of land. It says to call it allodally. This is free of feudal service. That takes away the king or the queen. Feudal, free of feudal service. And feudal means king or queen ownership, or their possessionship. And incidents. Thomas Berger, Paul Haskell, Preface to Estates and Land and Futures, 1884. And so he put that out there. And that's something to build on. Now, all these professors of the proper paperwork, that's the proper paperwork. Let's start seeing people get land and seeing if they could apply land under that. Because he said that you could buy cars under that, which means the state doesn't own your car. You're giving them the non-claim. He said that you can do it. Now, can you? I don't know. I don't know. I don't. He said a different form had to be used. Guess you could try it out. So that was some good stuff. But there was some stuff stirred in that made me say, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. We just doing what we can do. I ain't gonna throw no shade on nobody. There are a few states that are still recognizable allodial titles. I watched that one tonight too. I had never heard of the allodial ownership before. Yeah, I hadn't either, Ivor. I am in the car driving, trying to watch. Ooh, be safe. Be safe. El Cinco, be safe. Yes. Charlie Murphy, what's happening? If you can track land all the way back to the original grant of ownership and prove it and have it notarized, then you can claim the real title. Wow. 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 Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow. Now, what he says is you can track land all the way back to the original grant of ownership and prove it and have it notarized, then you can claim the real title. If you get the original manufacturer certificate of origin signed to you, then the state has no claim. It would even take away from the federal claim too. I can see that. It makes sense because the people accounts on that day change the loose change. Yeah. I've been looking into allodial titles since 17. Okay. I just saw a way where, yeah. I just think I found a way that's gonna open up a lot of shit. Well, damn. Really? Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. I am glad to hear that. That is damn a step in the right direction. So I'm not gonna throw no shade. Again, I don't agree with everything you said, but yeah, that's what the rest is for another day. Today, let's rival or enjoy that he put out some information that was useful and new. That's what I dug. Triple and I was talking about starting a community. Yeah, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean, really, this is it, guys. I mean, this is what really it boils down to for everyone. This is the reason why I've talked before about Charles Manson's story. I keep hearing shit in the hallway. Anyway, the Charles Manson story, where people living on communes and stuff, growing their own food, educating their children, and manufacturing shit. It would be that easy. Matter of fact, not far from me, they just chartered their own township. They just chartered their own township, got their police department, fire going, and they did this in the last year. This community been there almost 100 years. They're just now doing it though. So it shows me that if you have so much in an area that it's not hard. You've got like-minded people. And this is where the barter system should be. I mean, a self-sustained community. Of course, it might be a few things you might have to use from them. But even you could set the community up where the solar panels, stove, wood. I mean, it'd be a lot of ways where you could have a self-sustaining community. I mean, the Panthers did medical in WIC with very little money. Back when they could write grants, they could get these medical grants. And they had the free doctors that was going out to the community, visiting people like it was in the old days. I'm old enough to remember when a motherfucking doctor would come to the house. I mean, as I got older, I saw that disappear. But I'm old enough to remember when a doctor would come to the house. I thought that was the coolest shit in the world. And you know what? Let me tell you, I saw it later in life too. One of the doctors I saw as a child, I remember seeing him in something, and I remember I was like, this dude is a doctor. Now, I don't know if he got the degree, the Rothschild degree, But I remember this dude was a doctor. I saw him again. And I remember asking my stepfather, I said, is he still a doctor? My stepfather said, he's still a doctor. And I said, does he got an office? And he's like, no, he still ain't that kind of doctor. That's what I remember my stepfather saying. He's like, no, he ain't got no office, but he still see people. And this was when I was an older teenager. So this had to be in the 70s, like mid to late 70s. And I saw that dude in the 60s. When I met that dude, it was in the 60s when I first met that doctor. And I saw him damn near 20 something, almost probably 15, 16, 17 years later. He was still a doctor that was going to people's houses. And I don't know how long he was able to survive like that. Oh, woke sister, thank you for joining me. You can see they knew it was false. Interesting. Chief Jesse has been talking about land patents belonging to the indigenous people. Yeah, woke sister, you're right. I've been seeing that, and that's another part is the patents. I know Tasha was talking about that too, and trying to get the original patents. That's a good one, right? Oh, yep. You can go to the Bureau of Land Affairs and look for your ancestors on the GLO records. Thank you, woke sister. That is very kind of you to put in there. I know where our stuff is. I know 2 places where I can go look for some of our stuff. I don't even want to say this, but I know another place too where we can prove. Where the information is out there, and we might be able to go up in there and say, like the people in LA. See the people in LA, they had one of the prime areas for resort, and they took it from the brother and sister that bought that land. Again, under documented discovery. Eminent domain ain't nothing but documented discovery. That's all. Trying to tell you that taking your land is the better good of the public, which we know is some bullshit. It ain't the better good of the public taking your land. But that's what they did to them folks. It was nothing but to get their money so they can control it. Had nothing to do with better for the public. It was best for certain people's pockets. And so might be a lot of land like that. What's the cat's name? Batiste is his name. That did Chicago. How could he ever lose that land? Don't you know they know where his land was, where he had his trading post, and he supposedly sold it away? Don't you think Chicago should give his family back that very spot? I know my stepfather's family. They from Louisiana, and I'll say this: they sold some prime ocean land. Was pretty much talked a little bit tricked out of some prime ocean land where they had bought property on the ocean because they came back from Haiti. I don't know how they were brought from Haiti to Louisiana, but they was brought there. Now slavery, I can't really say. But I know in a very period of around the 1900s, they was owning land on the ocean, so they couldn't have been no slaves owning that kind of land. They own land on the ocean down there. That's why I was listening to this one brother, and he's a conservative. Brother Nick hit me to him, and he was talking about this is what rich folks want to tell you. If they have to pay people more, they have to raise their prices. That's the same thing they've been screaming for 100 years. It's like my ex and I, who's an accountant. She says it doesn't matter if the president of Kellogg's makes less money or he takes less salary and puts it back into the company. She says still won't make a difference to the general person. And that point is valid. However, for everyone to keep saying that if prices rise, that small business can't compete. So that the only people that can afford to pay $20+ an hour is Amazon. Walmart don't pay $20 an hour in most cases. They're still fairly cheap. There's probably people working at some Walmarts around the country make less than 10. They showed the difference between the Amazon employee not being on the state compared to the Walmart employees. That's what they prefer. They prefer you to work part-time at Walmart and be on the state for medical. That's the way Walmart ain't got to pay that for you. And the thing you got to remember, and I said this the other night, Henry Ford paid $5 a week, made his people work 40 hours a week, first, second, third. All right. The rest of them was paying $2 something a day. And they the same bullshit. It's the same exact stories they use now of why the other company shouldn't. Henry Ford said, fuck that. I'm going to sell so much product that this ain't going to hurt me. This is going to help me. The men going to want to work for me. And he was the first one to give brothers bread like that. He was in his company, and if he was in there, he was making that bread. Everybody else was making $2 something an hour or a day, not an hour, a day. I was watching another thing, Reels. Reels has a show. I think it's called Reels, and he does a lot of American Indian history, melanated history. And he was showing a lady in probably 60, 61, 62. She said she worked all day from 6 to 3, and she made $1. She made $1. And daycare would cost her 85 cents a day or 85 cents a week. I don't know. She didn't say. But that was still slavery. That's why I was trying to tell. Slavery was, what we know as slavery was really Reconstruction. They try to downplay Reconstruction and they try to upplay slavery because their wickedness is shown in Reconstruction. They literally put every brother almost in prison, in jail on a rotating basis. They filled them up like never before. Under the law that all of them agreed on, unless you break the law. And that's one thing the Europeans didn't really suffer. They didn't really suffer from that. Because that's why the union was put in. The unions was put in to keep all these skilled people. Again, look at the skilled population before the Civil War. It's almost 90%. Gone with the Wind will show you the meaning of poor white trash. It shows you the ladder of the people. Even it's still that Uncle Tom's Cabin shit, but it still shows you kind of the rung. And that kind of slavery really didn't end until the 60s. See, they downplay that in history, though. They downplay that. Civil rights, which was Indian rights. Oh, but let me get on with what the conservative was saying. Okay, so what happened is a lot of the brothers was pushed off the land. And the White League helped in this. Now, I've said this story about my great-grandfather. He had to give 100 acres to marry my grandmother, my great-grandmother, to her father so he could build the school. The school lasted well into the 20s. They built it late 1890s, around the turn of the century or so. That school lasted 30, 40 years, if not longer. But he had enough land where he could just give his father-in-law 100 acres. In the, let's say 1917, 1918. Let's say around there. My grandfather was born in the early 20s. His brother was born, they were both born in the 1920s. By 1950, he's in Michigan. Older, of course. He dies in 58. But like, what would have ever put him off his land? And I told you a thing he saw as a scam. Talking to my daughter about this, she's like, yeah, I've heard it from you. And she's like, I heard it from you and your dad. But my great-grandfather did not want to take his cotton to the local gin because they wouldn't give him back his seeds. That was the scam. Yes, we'll gin your cotton for free, but you got to leave the seeds. And I'm going to say my grandfather did something similar in Michigan where he controlled an apple press or something like that. And I can't describe it more than that, but it was a type of press where they brought it to him. Now, if he kept the seeds or not. My great grandfather, my mother's grandfather, could grow a tree, grow apples on one side and a pear on the other side. He actually grew fruit, could grow, same tree growing two separate fruits. Like in the tree, he gave the tree two minds. Same tree. And he was doing this shit in the 19 something. Hey, Byzantine, did you see the Jimmy Kimmel skit shaming those? You jumped on me. Oh, Jeffrey, I didn't see you. What's happening? My last look is Star System. Did you see the Jimmy Kimmel skit shaming those who didn't take the vac? Makes you wonder how many of those celebs have completely sold out. There's going to be a lot more of that. That's going to be the new thing. They're going to try to make you feel like you're outcast, telling you can't see the family and shit, or you got to wear the mask. It's almost going to be like the Jewish faith marker. They're going to put some shit like that. You see how they already try to do signs and shit. Get the fuck of that. What Woke said, that's why they're trying to, yeah, exactly. Even Negro tied you to the land. Negro tied you to the land. Kryptonian, I watched. Yeah, I mean, it did. That's why they wanted to put the African American, because you still, as a Negro or color person, still tied to the land. You know what's funny is the Vatican to claim all their souls, land, copied the Moors' lead original doctor of discoverment and treaty. Yeah. Yep. We've been talking about that. They did. They did. Well, they did it before. Well, I think you're looking at it from the modern time, but I don't know if the Moors did the claim. What is it? 1490 after Columbus? No, before Columbus. The first Papal Bull was before Columbus, so 1490, something like that. They did the document of discovery. So I don't know. What did the Moors do it then? I have to really look into that. I don't think the Moors did it then. Bullshit, level up, raising vibration when we can't get out of this bitch. Keep coming back. I ain't coming back no more. Do you ever think about reincarnation? You want out, raise my vibes. I learned from my past. This helps me break free of this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, does look like they trying to make people cyborgs and not the more we all awaken, the weaker the system gets. It's that quick. Even if you got to take the plunge, you start with the research community, and then you're gonna see the bullshit, and you're gonna like, okay, so what's the next step? And this stuff can't hurt me. That's how you got to look at it. Byzantine warrior, they say not to step into the white light, as that's what sends us back to this realm and wipes away our past memories. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you don't want to go into the white light. I mean, that tells you who the white light is. It's funny. Jordan Crawford said Baal's name, but Baal got another name. It's Marduk, and Greenwich gives that name back in the 1850s. Barla Marduk, a Baal Marduk. So you got to say the whole name. So I kind of laughed when I heard him say that part. Yes, exactly. And so that's that's the thing, is doing it all over again. Like what is one of the cards I read? It says, right when I learn all the answers, they change the questions. That's kind of what it is. Like you've lived and you figured it out and you know where you're going to go next. But see, if you do it again, they erase all the answers. So even though you did it, if you're like, what is that? That's why the ancestors got to be with you now. And you fuck with them now. And they're like, hey, yeah, I can't connect with you if I went there. I got to be on the right side to say, you can do it. You can do it. False light. There you go. Yep. That is it. What type of light can blind you? They got you scared of the dark, but not scared of blinding light. Blinding light is that. It's blinding. Here's another one. What color would blinding light be closely related to? Now, last time I knew, fire can be red, a little bit of blue, yellow's a little bit, right? But ice can shine like a diamond, and a whited out area you would blind you. A frozen area can blind you. You dig? Fire ain't necessarily going to blind you, just in its essence. The ice world can blind you. So keep believing that hell is hot. They fear the cold. They can say there's global warming, but they fear the cold. Again, if you anybody listen to me ever, when I talk about the troll under the bridge, what atmosphere does the troll want? Would the troll benefit from clean air or fucked up air? Would the troll benefit from fucked up food and land, water, or clean food, land, and water? What would the troll need? What do they call it? Geo terraforming? They've been geo terraforming this shit to something else. So you wonder about it. Who the fuck is they doing this for? I mean, it's obvious. Let me tell you, I was talking about this scam the other day. This lady did a scam on this guy and got about 12 million. Sold all his trees, and he had forest. These motherfuckers, like in the Dr. Seuss book, they just wiped out all this logging. He had it where it was logging done, but not wiping out the whole forest. This lady came in and got got the business behind his back. He kind of stupidly gave it to her. She let people come in and just wipe it away. Shit that had been growing over 100 years. Without any concern about nature, only that it would make her richer so she could take these trips, buy watches. And it was like these people didn't do anything to continue the wealth. They were so short-sighted where they could have took something and been generationally rich and no one would have ever noticed. Of all the money they took, they could have took just slightly less, went on a few less vacations, bought, wasted money on a few less things, and they could have set their family up and ran this scam forever. Now, again, it could be set up TV bullshit, but just the mentality of me and you we're gonna enjoy all this. We don't give a fuck about the future of this thing that could feed us forever. We don't give a fuck about it. We gonna roll the dice, wipe the shit out, and give us the dough, and we gonna go from there. Hey Roger, thank you for joining me. There has to be a way to escape the matrix and choose your own path. That's what I wanted to figure out. Of course it is. I mean, the matrix ain't fucking with your ancestors like that, especially the ones that figured out how to move. Now, I've said this before. All the chakras, karma, all that shit, the ethereal, the ether, they're in all that shit. Astral plane, they're in all that shit. That ain't nothing new to them. Now, I think the one thing they don't like fucking with is this: they don't really like fucking with time. Not the way I fuck with it. They don't like that shit. And they definitely don't like this czar shit. This czar shit seems to be able to zip through this shit. And I ain't seen them. And I'm not just saying because this is my preferred way to move. Like I was trying to, it's like I try to tell these experiences, and it's like it's not even, I can't really even fully tell it. I have to think like a week or so and like really put it all together. And like when I was just fucking with my Virgin the other night, just this. Now, motherfuckers talk about being, when you shift, it's like everything shifts. Because even the point where you hold space time, in some ways, even your immediate area all has to move just because so much energy you're generating that where you start to move, a part of this moves with you. You understand that? It's just impossible for it not to happen. Because again, when you make the perfect shift, you have had everything working. I mean, all was around you works. You understand? Everything has to work. And I just remember, I remember I shifted so far. Like when I look back, it reminded me of the show The Magicians, where the Julia character was looking at herself, and it was like she saw nothing but a mile of herself. I mean, every way she looked, it was just more of herself. And I remember almost that feeling because I caught myself looking back how far I had moved. And it was like the distance of the shift was so far, I really can't even describe it to you. It was like I moved that far away. That's the only way I could describe it, is describing me in a bunch of lines, but it wasn't even that. But just to give you an idea on how far the move was. And then having to pull in the experience beyond that, of actually what was experienced, and trying to remember these colors, these sounds, conversations, fractals that you feel. And it's a thing where they say you get into the mental, the further you go, it's more of a mental thing. The physical just when the Gnostics talk about you burn away these rags, it's definitely that. It's nothing but awareness. That is the thing the machine can never have, is awareness. My mother was telling me about some Blade Runner, and apparently they're trying to say that the AI and the machine had a baby. The machine can't have awareness. It can only be told about awareness. It's like even mirrors. There was one thing they was asking the old fella about skulls. Again, that's a new thing that you're in Europe. But my original information of ever hearing a time crystal comes from the skulls being together. And in the middle is how you have an energy that can just repeat itself forever with its own eternal power source. Because it will give you that rapid spin this way, that rapid spin that way. But when it makes these moves, it is actually putting you in a space-time where it is yours. So if you imagine like this, if your personal ship was a time crystal and you activated that fucker and you got on it, the first part where you feel it go, you could go with that part, and that would be your world. Because it's going to the initial source is going to go jump back the other way, creating more. But you could take the initial jump and you could stay with that, and that would be how you create your world, where you would be moved. And I would dare say, just like Moo took her lover, I would dare say you could almost do it like that, where you could almost Adam and Eve it, if you felt that could continue things. Not to say you had to do that, because you used triangular numbers, and that's how you would create everything, would come off of that. Just your understanding of how to push that out there. And the type of existence would come from your awareness. Every person wants to be a planet. Every planet wants to be a universe. What's better than that? What happens when you die? You decay, and a new universe comes upon you to help you decay. Right? You open up a whole ecological system. If you're just on the ground, even if they put you in certain boxes, and the stuff can get to you because it's a cheap box. Even if you're burnt, doesn't matter. That is the goal, is to be a planet. So they're offering you to just sit in it. What does Islam do? Islam says you can drink honey wine and have all the virgins for eternity. Those are fleshly desires. Why would you want that? That replay. That's a lazy existence. Why would you want, when you had all the power and all the grace of whatever, the source. You get all the power of the source. That's all you'd want to do is get high and fuck hoes? Fuck that. This is what he's showing you. Worlds come out of you. You see that? It comes out of you. And you become the Quattuquoto with the consciousness. The ancient consciousness grows out of you as you mature. If you come here to motion, as you come here to motion, you see, you start from the ancient knowledge. The knowledge comes out of you until you become motion. And you become the creator, the Quattuquoto. These are all doorways, doorways. My favorite doorway is smaller on here. Where is it at? Here. Here. On my color poster, that is the doorway. So this is how deep it has to be for each one of us. That's the stride. So in that reference, it don't matter if it's flat, plain. It doesn't matter. You know, that's the end. So you can live on either or. But that's got to be the end goal there. To be on planet. So you can do what lives on you. Now, obviously, what we live on has been taken advantage of. That's why I said the other day, how much of this reality is taken? Like really, how much of Mu have this thing had to use to manifest this? Because obviously that's what's happened. It is still some kind of connected to the main source, or this main source. It has to use it some kind of way. Now, I don't know how much fighting back it can do. I don't know. But this ain't everything. I don't think it has total control of all of it. It's too much positive things that come back from the other side. It says the same thing. That there's a way to break free. Well, I'm gonna take a break. Yes, it's time for me to read the divination that I give to everyone. And so we are on 13 platoons, 0 contunes, 8 tunes, 8 uno, and we are on day 18, which is Estabaz, which that is one of my also names, which is another thing for motion. That is motion. That's how the early cross would have been looked at. It's like he got motion the wrong way, but we understand motion. Hall of Mirrors, ritual partner of no time, ritual stroke. Ritual stroke, ritual knife, sword of wisdom and purification. If my friend is watching ritual stroke, I will definitely show you that. Inside joke. And for the Totec, it is called Chipotle or Flint. In the card image, we see a Yanni with the symbols of self-sacrifice on his left hand and the symbol of Iquatto and a big pendant on his chest. On top, we see a sky full of carved flint, signifying how everything concerning the individual is connected with the higher realm of the cosmos. From these higher realms, a protective hand descends. This means that the Yanni is protected because of the development of his higher awareness. Tepato represents the enhanced awareness that, like a mirror, reflects the harmonious existence of the cosmic totality. It also represents the power and wellness that arises from living in a harmonious connection with what is higher, both in a physical manifestation as the universe and in a spiritual dimension as a unifying, sustaining force in the universe. This force is known among the Toltec as Sinoto, the sacred unity. The pacto also implies the tension or efforts it takes for the carved flint or knife to cut open its way to achieve fulfillment in its given task. In the spiritual sense, Tapato represents not only higher awareness, but specifically the efforts you have to make to achieve such higher awareness. It also represents the effort to live a purposeful life, which in turn promotes the achievement of a higher awareness. These are two reciprocal forms sustain each other, so we can call a sacred sustaining system. But for the effort of the knife to succeed in an opening way, the flint first needs to be carved and polished. For you, this means to achieve your full strength, you have to carve and polish yourself. This is consistent with the Toltec concept of human development, what is expressed in the old advice of the elders. Sculpt for yourself a real face and develop your soul so that you can see others and be seen by them. For your higher goals to be achieved, first you should develop yourself to have a real face. Then you must be present and sustain your efforts in the right direction so that you can open your way to achieve your highest dreams. In other words, direct your efforts both to the inner work and also to the external work. Trying to achieve something really valuable only by focusing outside yourself will be senseless, because the way you experience life is the result of the dynamic and hopefully harmonious interaction between the two realms of your existence. Therefore, you have to carve and polish the flint first and learn to direct it to your higher goal with sustained intent in your actions of the world. Here's one. If my point of view, plans, or mind maps are not effective, is it possible that I have not taken the time to develop them? Is it my plan or goal that is wrong, or do I need to refine one or refine all your goals? In my work, is there a situation, relationship, or project that I am rejecting just because I don't like it in its current form? Is there any positive, powerful possibility of situations that I'm not noticing? How could I work out the situation so that the power and benefits that hide within can be unleashed? Take time to refine your strategic plan and provide what could be missing from your diagram. Here's one. Is it possible that we are dealing with an underdeveloped relationship and that all these troubles are just the call to improve and develop a much better relationship? What is it that we have not done that is missing in our relationship? What changes can we make for the hidden positive possibilities of our relationship to be fulfilled? That was for me. I lost my place. The commercials used to say, show a motherfucker getting high and say, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I'm looking at the commercial while I'm hitting my bong and thinking, that commercial is bullshit. You teach yourself. You teach yourself. You put all this together and you teach yourself. You may not agree with everything a motherfucker say. That's all right. Because if they give you just a little bit, you say, oh, they talked a lot of bullshit, but they gave this little bit. And this little bit is legit. Too legit to quit. That little bit is too legit to quit. And so you just have to let that grow. Because that's how it is sometimes. You can only give up so much. We look like a pendulum and there's a string swinging back and forth, trying to yin and yang. Yeah, it's like balance ain't just being in the middle. Balance is running here, running there. Balance, you might have to go all the way to the end and almost fall off the other end and then rush back to the other end. I mean, balance is all that. That is balance. Balance ain't just standing in the middle, I'm just holding the bridge up. I'm holding the sky up. And you held the sky up. Damn, if you just be in one goddamn spot. You would have to move all around. Even if you was Atlas and the shit was on your back, you'd eventually have to move around. That's true balance. That's what I think. See, and that's why I shy away from shakas, karma. Because again, you know, the shockers, they want to tell you just to keep the shit here. It's not enough for me. This shit's gonna be everywhere. This is gonna be worlds. Yeah, I'm gonna blast off here, but it's gonna be, I'm having all this. I'm not gonna just be limited. And karma, it's easy to skip karma. I mean, again, to look at that shit, why not be on top of all that? Why fuck with that when you don't have to? Because you have to accept karma. You have to accept it. Happy, sad, that's karma. I say joyful. Because there's nothing opposite of joy. Pain ain't opposite of joy. That's some bullshit. Love and hate. That is, love is supreme. Joy, they are supreme. Love is supreme. Love has no opposite. I hate a lot of shit I ain't never loved. Most of the shit I hated, I would never think of even barely liking it. There's one motherfucker I hate since I was a teenager, and I still hate this motherfucker. No sexual abuse or nothing, but he mentally abused me while I played sports, which can be just as bad. Because these motherfuckers think they got power. So I never had to do anything to do with, I guess, my love of the sacred ball game, of the continuous ball game. And there was evil people that's in it like him. So it had nothing to do with sexual abuse. It was mentally abuse. It was abuse of power by asshole, which I continue to see. I watched that continue to spread, not just with me, but other parents. Because I watched how they push people. And when I talk about Shotty Vaughn, they pushed him. They pushed him to the front of the line. Played 3 years, and now he's bouncing around the world. That wasn't what was promised to him. He was given the plateau. And then when he was there, some reason he didn't fit something. Might not want to play the game like they want to play it. Might have not caught on. Oh, I can fix these games and I'll be in there. Might have questioned the shit. You never know. Because a lot of it ain't just, it's not just talent all the time. Oh, and then again, Ty Jones, play with Grizzlies. Ty gets drafted at the end of the draft. Shotty's out of the lottery at 15. Ty gets drafted 20-something. He's still in the league. He's tall as me. Now how does that make sense? You can't tell me that Ty's skill set was that better. Because Shotty could have played point guard. Shotty definitely could have guarded anybody. At 6'6", he could have played point guard. Wasn't given that chance. Ty's in his second contract. And his little brother, I think, is in the league of the G League. Let's see how they can trick you. You see how they can raise you to the highest heights and then break you at 24, 23. Dude's going to the league at 19, 20. I think Shotty was 19. Went in the league at 19. And by the time he was 22, he was out. This is like his fourth full season out of the league. This cat's only 25 years old. You see how cruel this shit can be. That's cruel. If this man has to go somewhere else to hoop. And the person that's in his spot is 2 inches shorter. And the same type of player. It's not about talent. It's not about talent. And it's real people that make chess moves with these people's lives. Again, it all goes into ratings and all these things. How is the crowd responding to him? It's all these things that are answered. How's he looking on the camera? Is he smiling enough? Is he cooning enough? If you don't think these things are part of what you do, especially playing basketball, a lot of it is that doing that Harlem Globetrotter shit, for real. Smiling. My other partner, Greg Jennings. Look at Greg. Greg is on Fox now, calling football games because he wanted to get paid. He watched other people get paid, so he left Green Bay to get paid. And then for doing that, they kind of let him flame out. I'll say he's a little bit in the not knowing himself. He never had real burning speed. He played basically X. He was never really a Z. He didn't have the Z quickness. Athletic had the Z athletic wise, but the quickness that inside receiver has, just didn't have it. But they let Larry Fitzgerald do it forever. Larry Fitzgerald ain't running by nobody. They talking about bringing him back here. It was like when the Raiders had Jerry Rice and Tim Brown. You really think they was going to win with them two old motherfuckers? Who were they running by? Old Jerry Rice by then. Old Tim Brown. But especially Jerry Rice. Jerry was probably 35, 36 at playing. He ain't running by nobody. But he was allowed to, is my point. He was allowed to run by people. So this is how it works. And look at Jerry. I mean, you got to feel sorry for Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice was in a commercial where on his face mask, some chicken was revolving. This is a dude from Mississippi. And I like Jerry because Jerry got rid of his Southern accent. He took classes. That mug is he went to Mississippi Valley. He's from Alabama or Mississippi, one of them. I met Jerry, and Jerry don't talk the way when I met him. I met Jerry when he was a freshman. My patience is very thin. Look at fight. They might as well. I was selling all the other stuff almost like a living conscious meditation state. There you go. Overstand. I saw you in there. Overstand. What's happening? Priceless, powerful. Yeah, gratitude and joy. There you go. Like the predator or the alien. Well, I can't really say. I mean, Jeffrey, can't really say that is round. I wouldn't doubt it's around. Argatha. You got to explain that more. Get that cramp. Okay. I'll look it up because overall, I think you're talking about the book. Are you talking about the book? Let's see. I think that's what you're talking about. I don't know the name. And I probably look it up quicker than you could send it to me. Hey, peck it away. THA. Oh, that bird stuff. I don't know, Jeffrey. I don't know. I ain't really got no thoughts on that. I think that was a psyop too. I had a similar situation. Coach tried to blackball me in high school. I went and made the Ohio AAU team. My recruiting came in. I can't stand his ass. I mean, I was done so dirty where I've said this before. Central Michigan called me on the phone and said we actively recruit you. My first game I played, I caught, what was it? I caught 4 passes for like 180 yards, and I had an 80-yard touchdown. Second game, he calling square outs. He let me run a reverse, but he didn't let me play defense, and we got annihilated. But the biggest time was before we were playing Holland, and I was catching everything in warmups. Even my best friend was like, damn, you on it today. And, some bullshit, didn't play. No reason, said I didn't hustle one play. One play, the ball thrown over my head, and I'm not played. And then when it came down to it, I had a couple more good games. But when it came down to but he was such a nut. Like we was losing one game, and he wasted the whole third quarter to get one touchdown, running the ball. 2-3 years, we got it deep and 2-3 yards, first down, but it killed the whole third quarter. That's not smart football. That's old 20 years of football before that. So, and then when it came time to send the films, he didn't send the films of my better games. He sent films of my junior year where I had an interception. Because I go down there and they make me play defense. I'm like, why am I playing defense? And they're like, that's the films we got. You got the interception. You ran it back 30 yards. We were impressed. We like your size. because that was what they was looking for. 3 deep. All the cats was about 6 foot or plus. So talked about underground base. Yeah, I heard that years ago. Hard to say, Starfleet. Hard to say, Jeffrey. Hard to say. Hard to say with that. Mm, I looked up the chat from before I entered. Someone said NASA was a hoax. Yeah, Samuel, we was talking about that too. NASA, Nazis is all the same thing. And they just got disbanded in the last 20 years. So they got a lot of money for doing nothing. Like now, they really want you to believe this shit in Mars is just, it's again, document discovery. Like the whole, I like the woke of truth, no gravity, period. uh, never a straight answer. That's right. There's never a straight answer for them. I mean, there's no way. How did they get through the asteroid belt? Just explain that to me. What's the other part? It's the part where they have no heat shields to stop it. It's like it doesn't make sense. And then you telling me the shit's flying up in the air. But okay, say they are doing it. They violating universal space. It is against universal space. What did they tell you in Star Trek? And I mentioned this before. What did they tell you in Star Trek? You are not supposed to let a less advanced culture see your advancement because they would worship it as a god. So you're supposed to stay hidden. But you can't do anything to change the natural order of the planet. Remember, the motherfucker's about to blow up. And they was like, motherfucker about to blow up, let it blow up. So them being there, you can't tell me that shit's sterile. You can't tell me they ain't sticking shit in those grounds. They ain't took some worms, some spiders. They're already saying, look at the spiders moving. You cannot tell me they ain't took shit from here and put it up there to see if they're doing this. This is how evil they are. They already think they own that planet. Think, okay, say they start going up there and the people going up there say, hey, it's a little things growing around here. Like, we're just seeing this little stuff doesn't bother us. Well, we know it's there, but we can live with it. And say we start killing it like it's bugs because it's bothering humans. Is that right? That's against universal law. You go into its homes and you killing it because it's bothering you. You can't be out in this atmosphere, the shit's jumping on you. And then you find shit that they make shit because they're good at killing. They're good at killing. So they make some shit to kill all the natural things there. Would that be right? To make humans more comfortable? Is that right? That is how they feel. That's how they look at it. They don't care if they're killing some shit. They putting some shit to see if shit they do would kill shit. They would do that test first. Does this kill shit up here? Does this kill shit up here? Oh, we think it's some shit here. Let's see if we can kill this shit. They good at that. And that's how they would look at it. Again, under document of discovery. All the planets they own. That's how they look at it. We own it all. If you can think about it, we own it all. They'd even tell you they own the consciousness. That's what I was saying. They try to be in this shit. You think they ain't using demons and shit. And some shit to push their agenda. They're using all that shit. What is it? Man, I was doing some remote viewing the other night. That shit is crazy. That shit is crazy in the motherfucker to really to see something accurately that you've never been exposed to, never thought about. That's some deep shit. And it's like I write this shit down, and it's like I try to get better in detail. I'm a pretty good detail person, but it's like damn. But I get to write this shit down. I'm like, yeah, that was there. And then I'm like, what the fuck did I see this shit for? I'm like, man, I know some shit out there that looked like this shit. So, let me tell you, Tuesday was such a perfect day. But let me tell you how dreamlike it was. And this is, and it cracked me up when it came to me. So I get gas. Now let me tell you, I'm using the rig now. The rig just takes you there. Like I was saying, my date Saturday, I was so blown that it was like, whoa, well, this is here I am, baby. So I get ready to go on this trip, and I had to go in the city. And so again, I am just nicely blowed. I am there. So I go get gas, and everything is just perfect. The lights just change, and I just see I have supreme command on this day. So I go in to pay for the gas because I don't trust this gas station. Every time I go there, when I put my car in the machine, because you can't tap at the pump, at least mine, you can't tap. You got to go in to tap. And so I'm coming out, and I'm walking, and I look back. A car pulls in front of me. It's a fucking right hand drive Toyota. Toyota. Right hand drive Toyota. And I looked at the shit and I was like, this is some dream shit here. This is the kind of shit you would see in a dream. But it just I knew that everything was gonna work for me. But seeing that car, that was like, this reality is just showing me how much control I have. Because it's like I'm seeing a dream scene and I can just laugh at it, like, okay, this means the shit is going my way. Solar Warden, you got to tell me what that is. Oxygen container of gaseous substance. It's a dome. Oh, okay, that's where you are. All right, that don't bother me either. We can be in the dome with you. We can be in the dome with you, baby. You ain't got to chill. That ain't talking about nobody. If you just bring your knowing in, I don't care about that. You got to tell me what solar warden is. I don't know what that is. Supposedly we lost the tech to go back to the moon. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Nicole B, what's happening? They're trying to eminent domain the universe. I mean, that's what it takes for them. We call somehow we call someone on the moon during a time only when landlines existed. Kids were off school, people off work because we could go wrong. Yeah, it was all like that. We were out of school. I remember that. We definitely were out of school. Open one Stargate and come out the other side. Well, yeah, I don't know if it kind of works like that, but it's some Stargates. Again, that gets into Wes Paneri's work when he ties Lemuria into the Black Hills and says that Stargate because Bala Marduk was locked out of that Stargate, and that is why the Mason heads are there because it's supposed to be the Black Hills is supposed to be the strongest feminine energy on the planet is in the Black Hills, and that's where Stargate was, and apparently that's they had to cut that off from Bala Marduk and the one in Saturn as well. So that is why they say the one there is cut off, but there was one on the planet. Again, that area generally in there is tied to Lemuria as well. So one time you could just be on the planet and move around. Is 9 submarines remade into starships with anti gravity on them? Oh, okay. I have to check that out. No, I have to check that out. My son was telling me about some movie in Zero. I was like, it got to be more than Zero, but maybe Zero was the movie because it's only like 7 or 8 episodes. So I started watching that. The idea of being disappearing or being able to cloak is an interesting concept. Um, it's actually because the idea is being able to cloak in time move as well, not being able to just cloak in real time. Having what do they call it? The space or the speed force element, where you would also be able to cloak and at the same time have the ability to move through a frozen time or a slowed down time. That would be what you want. In that show, they were showing him in real time, and okay, you could petty steal, but that wouldn't like that's about limited as you could be. You really be limited in that effect on just being able to cloak, just being able to go around people and being able to cloak. Um, yeah, it'd be like being able to make a house cloak and then being able to take that cloak house or whatever vehicle. That would be pretty boring just being able to cloak, you know. But I guess I'll see how the series goes. Uh, so I found that a little bit interesting. But again, any forms, flat plane. You think we in the dorm? I mean, we can all go into that. I thought they told me don't do it, but I was thinking about shit. Just doing a show where everybody's in the consciousness of flat plane. Just people can really feel it and see how it is. But I've been advised by a few people don't do that, so I'm not gonna do it. But it could be done, I think, really. Um, yeah, where you would see the effects, and the room changes. Yeah, it does. It's you can see the change. You really can. It's hard to argue that we're not in a lot of ways. I mean, everybody watching me right now, look around to see how many squares you see and triangles. Look at your walls. Look at every wall. Look at the windows. I mean, just look at the room you are and see how many damn squares is all around you. Okay, circle, circle, squares, circle. Just trying to see the plant again. It's something different. The pot is round. But I mean, it's an easy argument for that shit. You just look everywhere. That shit's everywhere. So part of it's kind of true. We're kind of in that. But no, the difference would be the illusionary aspect of it all. Maybe I've never said this too. The illusionary aspect, but being able to use the illusionary shit. I guess maybe I didn't emphasize that. Yeah, you can use. How can I describe this? The best way I can describe it is like this. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, when you see the shit in the arms or in the palm, you wouldn't even need it in your skin, though. It wouldn't even be, it would be like you wouldn't have to carry this solid. And it wouldn't necessarily, it's not necessarily in your hand. You have something that represents that. Yeah. But you don't have to have this, you wouldn't need this. You would have something that did this, but it didn't feel like nothing. Does that make sense? Like you don't, it wouldn't need to be like this. In flat earth, this didn't need to be like this. You have this energy, you have something that'll do this, but it ain't like this. It's I don't even know how to describe it. But my point is a lot of shit is like that. You don't have a lot of solids. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. A lot of okay, you know how they show the dude can sit down in the chair and you don't need the chair? Remember the commercial, they pull the chair and he's still sitting there? It'd be a lot of that too. You would be able to not, some of these things we use as a solid, you wouldn't have to use as solids. You would just have the shit. You would, how do I put it? Yeah, you just want the shit. And you could pretty much, put it around you. Not to say solids didn't exist, but a lot of this shit that's solid wouldn't have to be solid. I guess is my point. I can't really describe it. Books are still books. Trying to see what else. I'm not describing it good. Sorry. Can't really describe it better. I feel kind of lazy. I wish I could describe it better. I can't. Yeah, I can't really describe. But it's like a lot of things we do, like maybe even driving. Yeah, definitely driving. Yeah. You wouldn't really need that solid thing. You could just move around. But you would okay, yeah. So part of okay, how do I describe it like this? Like when I was saying about when I used to go visit my children, I would like Astro move to go see my children in Michigan. Part of it is you still have to travel, if you can imagine that. You still physically, even if you have to fly over the lands, you still got to go over the lands. I mean, the journey, despite being able to do the journey in moments, you still got to do the journey, if that makes sense. So for me to go from here to Michigan, even though I could fly over and gain tremendous amount of movement, I still have to do the trip. I only bring that up because that is the point. It's like a lot of that shit would be illusionary, but you would still have to move through space time. I guess is my point of trying to describe it. You would still have to move through space time, but the way you would move and use things wouldn't be like what's considered matter so much. Like the density of the things that we need here, you don't need. It's just the illusion is that strong. And that is what I would like to, yeah, that is what I would like to put people. I don't know how long it can be held. I've been told don't do it though. But I don't know. That intrigues me now the more I think about that. Yeah. If I could just hold it, yeah, wouldn't take that long because we're all basically, it's about a 3-4 second delay. Might be something to try. I don't know. Where you at? All the high tech we have possessions are recreation from past civilizations. I strongly believe humanity being wiped out several times for various reasons. You know those saying about history repeating itself. Are they restricting your videos? Odd question to ask, but maybe. I think so. I think they are. And you're just the stuff we're allowed to see. Yeah, just the stuff we're allowed to see. Um, well, yeah, of course. Machu Picchu, they can't create it. They said how much money it would cost them. I talked about that the other night. They were saying it would cost them billions, especially trying to find the same place kind of thing. They couldn't do it. And so, of course, this is one of the things that shows you, like the giants, they find the giants' copper in Kemet. So we know the first people that came from North America were the giants. And they were trading with who knows over there? Were there other giants or were they small people? It appears like they were smaller people over there, but yet they were able to create something. Now, even if you're 20 feet, imagine, the type of vehicle or whatever technology you had to move across. Again, when you get into the time walkers, they were able to move brass through space time on this plane. And I don't think I'll get in trouble for saying that. I've said that many times. But if you guys saw the book, The Pictures of America, they holding up a dude that looks like he's in a shell. And then if you look at what he's holding, like they show Europeans kind of holding this native brother up, or even American Indian, whatever. But if you look at the shell and you look at the thing he's holding, they are holding and symbolizing, or yeah, they're trying to show you the movement of the time walkers in that very picture. Because something the brass thing they moved on looked very much like that shell. Because if you look at that picture, he's holding this thing like this. It looks very much like one of the vehicles that they would move and just appear. They would kind of trip other people out because a lot of times they hid this type of technology and they would just show up. And other mugs be like, well, they came out the cages and some shit like that. It's kind of a trip watching all that play out, how it was used. But yeah. So it's been stuff that could move, go across the ocean, and it's nothing to do. Can't none of the hurricanes or none of that shit fuck with this shit these people got. These people just go across and there's nothing that's gonna fuck with it. If a hurricane, it just goes through that shit. It has no effect once they activate all that shit. There's nothing that oceans or anything can do. The clouds, nothing. Never no storms than the shit they fuck with. And I know a lot of the African brothers hate hearing this, but Hathor is the oldest goddess. And Hathor comes from America. It's Mu. It is their representation of Mu. So, and even the Jordan Crawford, what was his name? Even he said he knew Manly Hall. And that's Manly Hall's words. Hathor is nothing but a copy of the goddess Mu in South America. So Thought that was interesting. This guy knew Manly Hall. Said Manly Hall was murdered. I'd never heard that before. I never really studied him that deep about his personal life, just the information. But I thought that was interesting. When it was time to kill him, they killed him. He put that shit out there. Make you think. Again, I've talked about Manly Hall, Aquaman. That's Manly Hall's description. Got a copy here that don't have all the pictures, so I got another book. What is the Book of All Things or whatever it's called? I don't have my glasses right here to look this big book up. I see it though, but I have one that didn't have the diagrams and shit in it. It's like I got to get the other one. It shows all the crosses and all that shit. But it's his interpretation. What you see in Aquaman is his interpretation describing Atlantis. All them kings, watch all that shit again and see all them people standing and where they standing. If you've read Manly Hall's book, he described that. You freeze that part, and it's exactly like he described, because you're seeing what they're trying to show you in those scenes is former rulers of Aquaman, and he describes it, and they show it in those shots. Hey, Barbara, thank you for joining me. Leonoid says the Earth is flat. Well, it can be. Oh, is that why there's less basket manipulation vids? No, it's like I watch games tonight. This is, and I let it go by. But what they did with Anthony Edwards, they lost to the Grizzlies. He had 42 points, and then they did a thing of his shots, and you can see all the manipulated shots. But it's like there's more to life. And I know they played this game with me before, because what they did is when they was paying me on my other channel, they would say, well, people didn't quite like this video. They didn't really, maybe you should go this. I mean, they would love for me to show basket manipulation in crooked football and cricket baseball forever. And that is part of my job as being the holder of continuous ball game of the Hero Twins, which I accept. But I put so much out there between this channel and the other channel that it's like beating a dead horse. I don't have to prove it anymore. I've proved it. I've proved it. I've proved it from the first two shots to 85 to 83, from 69, 70, we go to 83, and then we go to 85. I've proved it. It can't be denied. I proved the grip gloves. I proved it. So what else is it to prove? It's like I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. So that to me gets stale. And it's like every year I prove that this shit is fixed. What does it do? What does it do? I mean, I study, I enjoy showing it, but it's already proven. It's not going to change anything, and I never did it to change anything. But it's the same thing over and over again. So if people don't get it now, they ain't going to never get it. That's how I look at it. I'm deeper than that. Steph Curry backed you up. Oh yeah, he made 105 in a row. Yeah, I saw that shit. I've shown where they have to, his rims are different. That could be my new stuff. His system is different. They take his system, it appears, most places with it. His system is the most developed. I'll say that. That Steph doesn't use the same system as other players use. When he goes to gyms, they put in a different system for him. And that's the new thing that I've noticed. I'll say if anything new, that's new. They've put in a completely new system for him where if you shoot 10 balls, you're going to hit the rim. And when you shoot 10 balls and none of them hit the rim, that's impossible. That's impossible. Now, if I dunk it every time, yeah. But shooting jumpers, I mean, just the odds. Just the odds that you won't hit the rim in 10 times is impossible. Yet you see him do it all the time. But again, like I said the other day, the reason why they want him is they want, and Chris Paul goes into this too. They want the normal person to identify and say that person's the same size as me. That's why they've kept Chris Paul. That's why they put him in commercials despite him not winning nothing. They sports goes, the winners get this stuff. Chris Paul ain't won shit, and he's got what? I want to say Chris Paul's commercials is probably older than Aaron Rodgers' commercials. What did Chris Paul say? He's been doing it, I think, 8 years. I don't think Aaron Rodgers' commercials is 8 years. Patty Mahomes, State Farm definitely ain't that long, or whatever he is. But I mean, this is why, because they want to get rid of 7 footers, unless you play a different position, not a center. If you got a 7 footer body with them big ass giant 7 foot heads, they getting away with they putting them people out. They pushing them out. Anton plays for the Suns. He's a bigger lift. That's the look they want. The Kevin Durant kind of look. They want to get rid of Antoine. Might be the last big dude like that. The big dude that's playing out of Golden State. His body is different. He ain't got one of them big head, big giant 7 foot bodies. They doing away with that because they feel people can't identify with them people. So they want to do away with the bigger players. Too bad it's like that. B-ball is a great sport on its own. Money is really corrupted at once. Great league. Yeah. Companies to get the banging ratings every fucking game. Yep. Some point. And I'll say this, it's like um I know years ago I would talk shit about the South American players, taking over baseball, but I'm wrong because that's where the shit was invented. All ball was invented down in Veracruz. All ball. I've told that many times. The old men invented balls. They invented all the sports. Every sport was invented there. And it went through South America into the West Americas. And it went up through the Mississippi Valley as well and to hit the coast. Because people don't think the omens was in all the Americas. They just, come on. That's just the shit was so ancient. That's all it is. The shit is so ancient. They don't even they can even read that shit. Remember they gave you some Rosetta Stones and they can read the Cometan writings? Ain't shit here. This shit's still hidden from them because they destroyed it all. See, they destroyed a lot of ways they could have deciphered a lot of this shit in America and this energy to get into these Shangri-Las, the original inhabitants of the earth that don't need to live around this shit. I ain't talking about angels. They that's that Lindar shit. They want to find out how to be that. And that's something they can't fuck with. But they found out that the more they fuck up the earth, that it does affect them. So that's a war that's going on too. That they ain't got, they know it's there, but they can't control it. And they definitely can't destroy it. Because the thing can exist without them. It can exist one way or another, with or without them. So that's what frustrates the machine. They want you to think that you need to go somewhere else. But that is their ways. What is Silver Surfer's master? Come look at the planet and suck it up. All the natural resources. They do it fast, but it's out of that. A lot of the shit we look at is probably, harvested before the planet knew how to protect itself. Probably so. I mean, when you're a loving being and, and you got all these resources, and then something comes and cuts down all the goddamn trees, cut down a lot of mountains first before the trees was ever cut down. A lot of these, what was mountains? You can see the shit's been dug into. So that shit's been long gone. That shit, whoever did that was so old. And then you just look at uh, the raids the ravaging of the Americas and cutting down all the trees. I mean, we don't know what trees are. I'll say this over and over again every night. We do not know what trees are. They've kept a little bit of redwoods and what's the other ones? They've kept a few of them when they was everywhere. This was tree. America was tree world, no doubt. And the people that inhabited it did not have to devastate the land. Where there was swamps, they didn't have to fucking clear out all the thorn bushes and drain the swamp so they can have a couple more acres. They didn't give a fuck. They didn't need that shit. They had enough. That shit can stay like it is with the ecosystem it's had. It did. Life, it stayed there. It was life that went on there for a long time. Like the buffalo is another prime example. How long has this regime been in charge compared to a buffalo being able to run in these same areas for 6 million years? There's a reality where the buffalo, they build over the buffalo. They let that shit run. And they build above. And I mean, really like roads above, but they let them motherfuckers just live free. And it's a more harmonious kind of living because they knew they couldn't just destroy that energy. Yeah. But that ain't this one. That ain't this one. Hmm. And the old dude today said something that's very, very telling. They just want to make everybody sick because the thing can't just mass, it can't kill at one time. It gets penalized for killing everything at one time. So it can't kill in one time. It has to slowly kill. Slowly kill. I mean, you remember they were saying in China they was only letting motherfuckers have one child? How long is that gonna keep China going? My father's family had 10 or 11. She had, I think, 17 or 18 total. Well, my mother comes from only four. I have 8 children. My brother has 8 children. My great grandfather, one of them had 15 with one, and he had a 12 or 11, 13 with the other. The rumor was he had 50 children, but I've only been able to count about 25, 26 at the most. So what happened to that? One of my uncles had 7 or 8, 9. Why don't we see that? I remember what is 3 and Natalie, my youngest, three boys, when it was 4 of us. That was a big family comparatively. That it was three older children, bigger children, and then a baby, and then the parents. You see how when we was going into places, how rare that was to see 5 people like that. Most families, it was just 1, 2, maybe at the most. And I've been here 14 years, going into schools and stuff. And you know how rare and how big my family was compared to most people? Just didn't see it. Do you believe the system will last? Will they change the games to make it last longer? People, it's too many stupid people. And I hate to sound like Zach Hubbard because he always says people are stupid, but people don't care. And this is the prime example of how people don't care. Since my young life, I was able to always look at everything on the show. I think that's why I'm glad I watched soaps with my mom. I was able to see repetitive patterns, colors, what they were going for, how everyone was dressed. But this sums it up. My daughter's mother would say this. She says she's accountant. She works hard all day. When she comes home, she doesn't want to think. This is out of her words. She says, when I come home, I just want to relax and I don't want to think. It's like, okay, that's America. That is America. And all that sums it up right there. That's how most people feel. Most people don't want to think when they're not working, and they just look at it as entertainment. People know wrestling is not real, but people it hasn't been more popular. It hasn't been more popular, and they haven't changed the product. And as I talked the other night, repeating myself, this thing that stopped everything was perfect for them because it shows you they don't need the fans to do their script. They could run the same good guy, bad guy script all without fans. It didn't matter. This is how it was done. It was all scripted. So they could keep doing it. The rest of the sports had to modify, not wrestling, because that was it. It was perfect for this because they didn't really have to change anything. So they're going to be forced sooner or later to say it's scripted. I, with them being mad at baseball, I haven't heard anything else about getting baseball to get off their what is it called monopoly. The Republicans was kind of pissed about the Georgia thing, so they said they was going to go to take away baseball being a monopoly. Which, if they follow through, that means every state, every town could have a pro team again, because that's how it used to be. I mean, when I grew up, semi-pro was popular, very popular. Again, my whole career of playing 20 years semi-pro basketball. It was something I watched growing up, watching dudes play semi-pro basketball, playing summer tournaments, money tournaments, traveling around the country, still playing. So that is something that um, I watched it. I watched it die down, and I couldn't tell you why it died down. I think when I first moved to Battle Creek into Michigan in 1986, it was something like 600 or 800 semi-pro teams in the winter league. And then around, see, Keelan was '02. Around, I remember around 6 or 7, no, even before, probably 98, 99 was down to 400. And then the next year was down to 200. And then our outdoor semi-pro league, they took it away. They just did it for all the money that went into the adults. They just used for the children. So yeah, that outdoor league was probably 11 years, and then they took it away. And it existed even before I came. It existed before they even fixed the park up. It existed for a long time, but then they took it away. Uh, you're gonna eat your eat or you're going to starve. Yep. 50 kids and grandma needs to chill. That's hilarious. Well, he had 25 children from 2 women. No telling what he had by the other one. From families of 5 or 6, but only produced one from the minimum number to get his son. Wow. Uncle's others are the same too. It's weird. Wow. Wrestling, Overstand what's happening. I used to love it as a child and watched with my mom in the 80s. Super strange now for now. I still like it, Overstand. I love it. Matter of fact, I watch that just as much as I watch everything else. The athleticism is amazing now. I just like again what they say is you got to be able to take the falls. They were showing that dude who jumped from the ceiling and died. They had the thing on Vice TV. Yeah, I don't know how they convinced him to jump from the rafters. That was crazy. What do you think they're doing with LBJ? Supposedly from him saying that people came up with the tournament during the to be fired. I don't know, PJ. Um, I think that's the old guard talking. That's the old guard talking. Uh, Now, one guy wrote me in my thing, and he said that where they played, they had a 60, 70 game season. But I know a lot of cats that played overseas that don't play like that. They play constantly in tournaments. They don't have a season like that. They going from country to country, and they play in tournaments against all the people that come to a given tournament. So, but one dude said he played overseas and was only like one team, and I understand that. But they want to go to that format where they almost tried to put it in this year, where they had a tournament in mid-season. They had a mid-season champion. That to me would be more exciting. You play 80-some games, so you play 40 games. You had, instead of throwing away, fuck the All-Star game, have a mid-season tournament where all the teams can play. Do like Indiana did, only have one tournament, one division, let everybody play. And then to see who wins instead of a stupid all-star game, see who wins. Again, it's going to be scripted, but it will be fun for basketball. And then let them take a break or two. Maybe take a 2-week break after that. And then get back into the regular season. It'll be more exciting. They're probably going to steal that idea. But that would be more exciting than the way this shit is now. I mean, football, they playing one more game, gave 2 people per team, 2 more men. There's 2 more jobs opened up because they're playing 18 games, right? 17? They're playing 17 or 18 games. So they picked up 2 people. So I think it's a 57-man roster and then 12 people practice squad, I think. I have to look that up. I got sugar everywhere, man. Ugh. This stuff is good for you, though. Really good for you. A lot of good memories. Yeah. I heard they've been wanting to do that format. Yeah, PJ, it would make sense. It would make more excitement. Like, what they did with the All-Star game came from that TNT format, where instead of playing for who wins and loses, you played for a score. And so they did that in All-Star game the last 2 seasons. But that TNT money tournament that should start in early June, that's what they've been doing. Like playing for $1 million, that's been up. That's been around for a long time. We used to go to them tournaments where it was like 10 racks to win. You had to pay a couple racks to get in. And how many, it came out nice per man. Instead of maybe coming out the tournament with hundreds, you coming out maybe with some thousands, because you're only going to carry 6, 7 people, 8 at the most. Most time dudes be wanting to carry 6, 7 because it's not to share that money. But a lot of people want to carry 8 just to, so still be decent money. Decent money. Oh my goodness. Oh, I did bring my glass. There we go. Sugar clean. There's a taste of soft water. Water should taste soft in your mouth. I mean, there's really, when you have good water, there's really just a soft taste. Like, wow, that tap shit. Oh my goodness. The shit in this water down here is some nasty shit. When I lived in the city of Minneapolis, their water tastes better. And the water was always cold. Out the tap, the water was always cold in Minneapolis. I understood that in the wintertime. I couldn't understand that in the summertime. But even in the summertime, the water always came out the tap cold. That Mississippi River water. And then my son trying to argue with me that water doesn't really have an age. It's like, that's not old water. Water can't have an age. It's just always been here. Oh, overstands. I enjoy my copper cup and tumbler. Oh yeah. I this is like all the medication I take. I take it with this cup. And these two go together. I need to the next full moon I'm gonna have to take these out and recharge them. I kind of missed last month because it's good to get them out and recharge them. That's the thing with Sugar. I know somebody said they got Sugar and it wasn't shiny, but again, it's not shiny most of the time. You don't get it looking like this. But you still see the quartzite. Probably some pyrite in here too. Yeah. But so it's gonna look like this. You get it and it looks like this, it's fine. But it protects you. It's like shit be coming at me. We need all the help we can get. Oh, but it's just the magic I had the other day was just amazing, and it's just funny how things can work out. And then you see something from a dream, and you're like, okay, it's really groovy day, and that's kind of how it works out. It doesn't mean everything I do just works out beautifully, but that's worked out. I mean, I've got a lot circumstances that's just this thing fooled me. It did. It got me, and I'm like, you got me. The joke's on me. Okay, I understand, and it's just uh, you just adapt and you move with it and you move on. You don't ponder because nothing. What's pondering going to do? You just say, okay, I got to do this and I got to do that, and you just put all the time in it. And so this is the thing. It's like, okay, things may seem so bad, but one day when you have a day and all your magic works, you know that your magic didn't stop working because that's what it wants to do. It wants to make you put doubt in your shit. It's like, we doing this shit to this motherfucker. We squeezing him, but his magic's still working. So what are we doing? He's not falling for the shit. It's like he was saying in my band a little bit. Obviously, but that's okay too. That's okay too, because I'll play whatever game. What do I say from I've been saying since I started in 17 on this shit? If it's one person that shows interest, and if that person is the Google person that works for Google that has to watch all my shit, I will say it to fucking him. I mean, one of the favorite stories of Bobby Hemmett, Bobby went 8 hours. You know, Bobby get it on in there. He be drinking and shit. Everybody left. It was one person sitting there. Bobby sat next to this motherfucker and started telling the shit to him, one on one. That's a real motherfucker. That's a motherfucker ain't just doing it for the change. He ain't doing it for the coins. That motherfucker had that shit to give. And if I can just give it, okay, everybody left. Well, I'm gonna sit next to you and give it to you as much as we both can stand it. That's some pimp shit. Y'all see where they said Jay-Z was mad that he made that big pimping song? I didn't read why he's mad. I'm like, what the fuck you gotta be mad? Pimping is just not having a girl out there on the stroll. That is not. It is a mentality. A mentality not of controlling someone, of how to live in harmoniously with someone. That's what it is for a man. And not to say women can't do pimping too, because it goes both ways. It's not taking advantage of anybody. It's not controlling anybody. Because again, we had bordellos up into the 60s. You fucking drive the little corner place and you go get some booty. I've told the story many times. The dude in Battle Creek was driving a RV around, had his girls in the fucking RV. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the mentality of being your best and romantic. When you talk about pimping, you can't throw romance out of it, because a pimp would have to be romantic. You'd have to have the gift of gab, how to get along. When something fucked up happened, how to move with it. So it's not just one thing. It's not just one thing. Because I think on Facebook, they don't let you use pimping anymore. They don't let you use the shit anymore on Facebook. Well, that's about taking advantage of, and it's always women. Like dudes wasn't out there being pimped too. It's always about, well, that's against the standards of human trafficking. That shit's kind of funny. I was living in Boston. I remember drinking tap water. It tastes so good, it tasted sweet. Then coming to Cali, that tap water is nasty. It's treated with chlorine and other crap. Hey, Lorenzo, what's happening? Yeah, I could tell. Like, they put the chlorines in the water towers. I've told that story before. And back when we did it, I didn't know. And I had some new summer clothes on because we walking for the water department. We got new clothes in the summer. And that shit ate. I mean, that powder chlorine will eat fucking clothes up. It would eat right through your clothes. It would eat through your skin. I think they told me at first to put just these on. And then I went in. Somebody else was like, you was fucking with that. He's like, man, put them motherfucking that shit up to here. He said, man, next time put your raincoat on and everything. It's like, don't do that. It's like, no, put your rain pants, put your rain top on, and when you box in that shit, have all that shit on. So I learned that. But at first we was just busting that shit open, pouring that shit in. That shit got on my shirt. And then the old boy I work for was like, yeah, don't let this get on you. I'm like, what the fuck? But yeah, water is supposed to taste sweet. You ever been to Atlanta? Not since, wow, 80, 81. Because when I lived in Greensboro, Atlanta was only 5 hours away. So not since I moved out of Greensboro in 84, 85. So not since the 80s. I've been through since then, but not we didn't stay. When I went to Florida, we just went through Atlanta. There's some fucked up traffic though, I'll tell you that. There was some fucked up traffic in Atlanta. Remember that? But no, it's been a long time since I've been to Atlanta. But I've been down there, yeah. I've been down there. But not since then. 80s. I went through what was that, 90s? Brennan was two, so 95, 97. I went through Atlanta in 97. I remember those lazy, hazy days of summer. My girl moved to Cali in the late 90s, and her family said never, ever drink the water. They bought a lot of water. Wow. Wow. Wow, Overstand. Wow. Atlanta is dope. Okay. Okay. Like I was living in Michigan. Like I've said this before. I want to say the A&T started the Freaknik shit because we was doing that shit in 84, 83. Yeah, 83. And that Freaknik shit is like late 80s, 90s. But in Greensboro, actually, my best friend was president of the school at the time, and he thought of a summer or spring carnival concert. So the first year must have been 82. That must have been 82. The first year he did it. And then the next year he had graduated, and then they still did it. And so that must have been 83. And though by 84, it was nice. By the third or fourth year, it got bigger and bigger every year. I remember they said by 86, 87, it was like where when I went, it was probably 3,000. They said by 87, it was like 10,000. They said by 88, 90, it was like 20 some thousand just in Greensboro at A&T. That's a lot of people like at a football game. So it had grown and then it went to Atlanta. So yeah. Ah, that was when I talk about the acid stories. We had the concert watching Grandmaster Flash and the dude from the system, and we had took some snowflake acid. It's like we couldn't sneak any beer. We snuck some liquor in and some ice, but it wasn't beer. And but we was taking that acid and smoking weed. Oh my goodness, we was there. We were there. I remember watching one of my little neighbor girls dance, and it was like I was just like in that kind of trance. Just the way she was dancing, the music is just bouncing off the stadium speakers and watching her dance. Oh my goodness, I just sit there tripping. How does anyone feel about hydrogen charged water? Yeah, 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 Valerie. The best system. I know Bomber came up with a system, one of the better systems. But yeah, I mean anything you can do to treat the water that would put more pH in it for you, that is the ultimate, and it's not very expensive to do. So Bomber had some units. I think he was charging three something, but the units, 15 minutes, and gave you something like this. So a lot of people could use it. Something like that. I know. So if you know a system, you can say it on here. If you know a system that's good, and everybody could try it. Eccentric Bay, go Eagles! Yeah, okay, Eccentric Bay. Yeah, I never lost to the Eagles. I tell you that. I never. We beat them down there. We beat them at A&T, and we beat them in Richmond in the Gold Bowl. We beat them when I played them the year we won the Gold Bowl. We had beat them at Central, and then we played them again at Raleigh, where we played at University of Richmond, and we beat them again. That's when SuperNet was going there. Acid is great at 12. I wouldn't take it now, but I took it then. Yeah, I took it in high school too. I took it in high school, and I definitely took it a lot in college. It'll take you there. Or it'll just make you stay up all night. It'll give you the super giggles. It'll give you sometimes the super, super giggles. I remember I was on that shit, and my girl and I, my first wife, we walked into Burger King, and I had a 4-inch 357 Magnum Smith and Wesson. I think it's called a J frame. I ended up putting pearl handles on it. And I remember being in Burger King with that big gun stuck in my pants. And Burger King always had a cop in it. And I remember just getting real paranoid. I gave her all the money and shit. I'm like, I wasn't even going to take my hands out of my pocket. Probably too obvious. But I just remember I got high and paranoid. So she looked at me. Aren't you going to grab the drinks? I'm like, I told you, grab all that shit. Just come outside. So here she is trying to hold the drinks and all the food. Oh yeah, I had fun. I had fun with it. I definitely did. I can just remember being in a dance contest on acid, and the dude who won, he it was a pregnant girl. I lost to this dude. He was called Doctor Rock, and he danced with this pregnant girl. She was probably 3 4 months, just barely showing, but still you could see she's pregnant. Yeah, they did their thing. They deserved to win whatever the prize was, like 1,000 or some shit. But I just remember dancing, and I kept getting thrown off because they kept throwing the strobes and shit. And it was like I'd be dancing, I got to like watching that shit instead of dancing. I was like, damn, look at this shit. I'm looking at this shit go between my legs, and I'm watching it sweep on the floor instead of dancing. I'm looking at this shit tripping. I'm like, golly, look at this shit. And then I'm watching the other dude dance because him and the girl were dancing so good. I'm like, I wasn't even paying attention to dance. I'm like, ah, damn, these motherfuckers is getting down. I'm telling my girl, like, look how good they dance. She's like, we're supposed to be dancing too. I'm like, we're not gonna win. They're gonna win. Uh, drugs are different now than from yesterday. Static base say you want to try it. I don't know. That's some hard shit. I say it's ecstasy would probably be safer. It gives you a little bit of, or what do they call the shit? DMT, very similar. Just get your mind right. That's all I'm saying. Is get your mind right. Don't try to do shit. Make sure you just stay in the crib. Put all the shit out there for you to experience. And I mean, like the shit that I don't know. If you just want to fuck with shit, put all that shit around you, so you ain't looking for it. It's like you get really creative too. So put all that shit around you. You might be tripping off colors, so just put all that shit around you so you ain't looking for it. It's just right there, and you can just enjoy it because it's a lot of different experiences to give you. I mean, if you can just get in that straight experience and just move from there, but it's not guaranteed you're going to be like that. It's like it affects people in so many different ways. It's hard to say how you like when that full rush of the drug comes in. How can you handle it? It's like my son. He would smoke some good weed. He called me, Dad. I can't handle it, Dad. Dad, what do I need to do? I'm not breathing. I'm like, you gotta be breathing, son. You're fucking talking, so you're breathing. I'm like, go to the hospital. They'll give you some shit to calm you down. But see, he couldn't handle adrenaline. Adrenaline, you know, because you can smoke some good weed and adrenaline will come out. Same way, you do acid, it'll drop that adrenaline on you. And a lot of people can't take that adrenaline, that hard adrenaline rush. Have a lot of people, oh, I'm not breathing, I'm not breathing, because they're not used to that adrenaline, push. Uh, I'm scared of taking. I think it might fry my brains. And I'll be honest, I knew some people. I told the story to Dennis. Dennis was sitting behind me, and Dennis like he flipped out. I mean, we literally had to jump on this dude, and they had to come straight jacket him. And they took him up out of there. And then when they let him back in school, I don't even know if they let him back. I saw him again, and he said he was sitting behind me. And he said my head just started blowing up like a balloon. And he said when my head blew up, he couldn't take it. He said he saw my head just explode to a million pieces. He thought I was dead. And not only did he say I thought I was it, and maybe let me add this. He said he thought he killed me. He said because looking at me, my head started. And he said he thought he killed me. He said that's what hit him the hardest. He really in his mind thought he had killed me because by looking at me, he thought he made my head blow up. He said that's what really took him out. He's like, I killed him. I killed him. You know what he's talking about. So yeah, I wouldn't try it now. University kept me away from freak Nick. I was good, Gil, then, shaped like a brick house. My older stepbrother said he had a ball, and I thought I was missing out. I done some shroom twice, but myself, shrooms is nice. They give you a nice mellow. And they'll really put you in a trance state too. It's more of a mellow thing. Very easy to trance. I'll say that. I don't know. I was, when that came out, I got married in what, 88, 89. No, before then, I got married in 86, 87. First time. Maybe 87. Yeah. And then shit, I got married again, what, not till 98. My second time, 97, 98, maybe 10 years later. So I had children and just when I was traveling, like just to go party down there to travel, it was, like to me, it was going to Miami. Going to Miami and coming back, bringing shit back. That was more my mindset than just chilling down there. Even when I went to Miami, Strip thing ain't never really been my thing. You know, going to strip clubs ain't never really been my thing. That's not something I really, you know. So by then I was like had children, so it wasn't really a thing for me to go down there just to party. Yeah, I had girls, women's, so that wasn't no thing to me. There you got niece. Just stick to bud because you can get just as good bud that can trans you. Like I was saying, when I had that, when I felt that shift the other night, it was just smoking bud. That's it, and it took me far as I wanted to go. So, yeah, it's just how you spin. You know, you really just how you put the spin. That's the biggest thing that you can do. If you can just like when I talk about being in love and love or above, that's it. You know, it's working on your spin. Where, like I was saying Tuesday, it was like I I know I was moving around, but it was like I was spinning properly, so all my magic worked. So what I went through, everything was going to work, and that's the same thing. Is you just what can get you in that state to give you the proper spin, and keep that love high. That always goes with it to keep that love high, and it's not love or being in love. It's love, loving everything, loving the moment. That's the problem. Is like just because something is fucked up out there doesn't mean you shouldn't love this moment, and that's where we lose because we let all these other things take the place of what you're feeling right now. You've got to love the moment because the moment is all you really have. Like think of it like this: if you was during the French Revolution and your head was in the guillotine, you paying attention to all that shit. You looking all around you, you paying attention to all that shit until they say whatever they say to pop your head off. But I'm saying if you put yourself in that position, you would almost see every face. Say there's thousands of faces, you would almost see every face, every little detail, everything. My point is, why only live like that or get that experience when your shit's about to be cut off? Every experience is like that, you know. But I'm saying, put yourself in that position, and you will see it. Again, like you said in Doctor Strange, the elder, whatever, the ancient one. Here I've lived these thousands of years, but yet I'm trying to still get these few moments because these moments is about to be taken away. The moment is all we have, really. So keep your love high, love yourself, because love yourself and know yourself. That's the best advice of any young person. That's why I'm saying wherever keys are, wherever your wallet, the shit you take with you all the time, you gotta get now in a habit where you don't have to look for that shit. Glasses, anything that comes with knowing yourself. And I'll say this again and again every night. You have to know yourself, but you have to get in those habits because a lot of what the shit want to do is take away your memories. And if you don't learn these short-term memory things now, they're gonna take you away because this is their goal. They can't kill everybody at one time. They want to slowly kill you. And when they take your memory away, you start the rest of your body starts fucking up. You start stroking out. Watch my grandmother. Took her ankle off, took her knee off, started stroking out. All your body quits reacting, quits remembering how to do everything. So you can stop that right now if you're a young person. Put your keys or whatever, how you start your car, your house key, however, keep that shit in one place. Keep your wallet in the same place all the time. Whatever this important shit you have to do, keep that shit in the same place all the time. Because and I'm gonna say this too. Whatever your habit is, whatever shift you work, do the same thing every day to get prepared to leave for work. The way you get your clothes out, make it the same way every day. The way you take your shower, because these are less things that you have to do. It becomes muscle memory, it becomes habit. It's less things you got to think about as you get older. Because it's frustrating when you can't find shit as an older person. That's one of the most frustrating things that can happen to you. And it can lead to depression. To sit there and think, I know this shit was just right here. What did I do with it? This is important. I need it right now. That can lead to depression. But if you know yourself and you start these habits, you'll save yourself. In the morning, the thing to me is one of the smoothest things because you ain't even got to think about it. You just do it. You don't even think about it. You just do it. And so as you get older and more fragile with your memories, you ain't got to worry about that because you just automatically do it. So you start like after you dressed, and then what you gonna do next? Then that's when you have to start trying to put it together. But getting together is no problem because you know yourself. And that's the thing is when you lose things, if you know yourself, you know where you put it. It's like, okay, I know myself. So I normally keep my wallet right here or my purse, however you want to say it. But it's not there right now. Where else would I put it? If I didn't put it right there, I would put it over here. You did because you know yourself. That's really what knowing yourself is knowing how you move. And as you get older, this becomes important because they all this shit they put out there is for to fuck with your short term memory. That is what they want to get rid of you. That is why I wear Motivite because to me, Motivite helps with short term memory. Now, I used to wear this piece, and I used to wear a bigger piece, right here. Yeah, this piece here, you can see where it was. You know, they see, and I felt smarter. I felt smarter when I wore two pieces all the time. I felt smarter. I wear this one because talking like this it helps. I may forget something, and it'll it'll like the memories come to me. And so I haven't found. I mean, you may not touch this and feel anything, but if you carry this around and you work with this will help with your memory. This will help with your memory. I have no doubt about that. If you get the real stuff, it will help you in your memories. I ain't saying it's gonna totally reverse the shit, but I'm saying it's helpful. And if you're young enough, and you ain't got to get a big piece like this. This piece didn't cost near as much as this piece. This piece, I don't know. I've had this. Wow, damn! I bought this for my son. He broke the chain. So shit, 14, 13, 14 maybe. Yeah, had it that long. So it was actually his. I gave my other son I gave my other son a piece slightly smaller than this, and I gave him a chain damn near like this one. And he said he couldn't keep it clean. If you wear silver, it don't tarnish. If you wear it, tarnishes because you stop wearing it. Now this gets a little tarnished around here. It's kind of hard to get around there. I got a little brush and shit, but it gets tarnished. But see the back be against my skin, don't really get tarnished. And this you would think, see, that's against my skin. Ain't no the tarnish is the part that normally ain't on my skin. So and you ain't got to pay for something like this, something as small as this to do the job. Um, my other Virgins out there, I put a small piece on that. It's more expensive than it used to be. Hey, Jesse Lynn, what's happening? Kept me away. I've done. I'll stick to. You're right. I can dig that. I agree. It makes so much sense. Someone told me that some ancestors, trees and stars, spoke with them. Shrooms said the sky and nature were alive and very active. Super interesting. Yeah, yeah, it is. Um, like when I work with the planets, like right now, Saturn is starting to come in my area. Another 2 3 weeks, Jupiter come. Jupiter's late May, so I'm days. I'm probably weeks away from Jupiter. But when I take a crystal and I connect with Jupiter, and then the crystal doubles, the crystal's going to double, and while holding this, you can see exactly that. You see the personalities in the trees. You see their true selves, the true energy that's in the trees. You see the true energy that's in the sky. I mean, it's interesting to see this veil. I guess that's the best way I could say it. You can see this veil that they operate in, like spiritually, the way the trees operate. There's a veil you can tap into to see that. And I think you've seen a little bit of that in that experience. That's the change with me wearing the Shugite and Hemite bracelets. I have to wear them both on my left hand because it seems like wearing the bracelet on my right hand has started hurting. Yeah, well, like Shugite should always be held in your left hand because the natural flow of energy is right in, left out. And so, like, even I took my stones out of my pocket. Um, so when you was wearing it in your right hand, you was stopping the natural flow of energy because all energy moves in, and so you wasn't really giving it a chance um, to come in. It was just everything. See, that's within your right hand, everything that came in, it was trying to filter, and you don't really necessarily need everything to be filtered. So the natural movement be to wear Shugite in your left hand because that's the natural movement of the way you want it to be filtered. Now, if you got like Shugite, no, Sharite, Sharite can accept it in the right hand because when I harmonize with the Sharite, I got the Sharite in the right hand, Shugite in the left hand, and it naturally moves because the Sharite will let the energy in and it'll filter it itself. So if you had just the Sharite by itself, you would hold it in your right hand and it would filter naturally moving energy. But yeah, you're feeling that pain because it's too much for it. It's too much because you're not really letting it flow. So yeah, keep Shugite in your left hand or wear it on your left arm. But if you don't have it on your neck, it'd be best to wear it on the left hand. Yeah. And it would hematite you could wear with it. It ain't gonna really hurt it. Even if you put hematite on your right hand, however you want to do it like that. But yeah, Shugite should always be with your left hand. Okay, yeah. Well, good night, Anise. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, how long have I been? Oh my goodness, I'll go about a few more minutes. I'm going on 3 hours. Well, it's my first day back too. And yeah, I ain't really got shit to do tomorrow, but have fun and be me. Until next time, thank you, Anise. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I guess I'm not gonna go too much longer. I'm gonna go about 3 more minutes. So but that's just some things, my evolving. A person shouldn't be the same. I wanted to wonder why tiger eye bracelets feel better on my left hand. Um, Tiger Eye, yeah, those are interesting because Tiger Eye and I'm trying to think, what's the other one? Because I have Cat's Eye, yeah, Cat's Eye and Tiger Eye. Because Cat's Eye is an interesting kind of a crystal. It has a type of energy that you ride with. I have to look Tiger Eye up though. I have some Tiger Eye. I sent, this is how cold. I sent my daughter a Tiger Eye um, brooch or like whatever you call these pendant. And don't you know the male people untaped it, took the pendant out, and it wasn't an expensive pendant. It was cheap, and they stole it. And they stole it. She got everything else in there. I'm glad I didn't send money. Uh, just to show you an example of Rocrandonite, you'll catch it like this most of the time. And see how this one doesn't have any of the blacks, very little. I like this because it did have the blacks. Yeah, it's here. So I'll finish up with this. So I'm gonna send this energy out to everybody. Rocrandonite. It's kind of a card of love and joy. Rocrandosite teaches the heart is to assimilate painful energies without shutting down, dissolving, denying, and identifying ongoing detrimental patterns. It offers compassion and love and forgiveness. You face the truth with loving awareness. Deep down, you might feel alienated, unloved, or unappreciated. Um, or you may have misused or feared something in the past. You would be representing something you do not want to face. Irrational fears, unacceptable emotions need to be acknowledged and transformed. Time for a change of viewpoint. Begin to seek the gifts in your experience rather than seeing the negative effects. Check out whether that check out whether what you were taught in childhood is still relevant to the person you are today. Releasing resentment from your heart creates well-being. The frequency is high. The timing is coming because it is the timing is summer, so it's coming into that. Radiating unconditional love and self-compassion. So I'll put the tip out and give you guys this energy as my gift as a parting message. Sending out that energy. So there's nothing tied to it. No gains for me. So no hexes sent. I don't want anybody to say, well, you showed that crystal card the other night and I started getting a damn headache thinking about that card. And I blame you. So, uh, uh, the first time I wore it on my neck, it felt like it was burning sugar out my chest. Really? Wow, Jesse Lynn. Wow, wow. Okay, so you felt it. Okay, that's good. You connected to it because really, most crystals you want to hold them and you want to let them into your heart. And so that's interesting. You put it on and it went right to you said chest. It probably went right to your heart. That's the way you want to really connect with a crystal. It's not necessarily the true awareness because awareness really starts in the heart. And so you take the crystal and you try to bring the crystal into your heart, and from your heart it'll radiate to your awareness because there's a part that will join your heart, but it's another part that will come into your awareness on the potential of the crystal. But the first start is bringing it into the heart. So, wanted to say that. So, well, guys, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Dave Wind. I'm also called Time Walker, Time Lord. I take all that. Dad, friend, brother, son. I take all that. Granddad too. So it helps me write and sometimes saying out loud, repeat. Good, overstand. That is outstanding. Glad a little bit of positive influence. Um, because it's all about making a better you. That's all. It's just about making a better you. I don't ask much from people other than attention. And if these things work for you, that's more outstanding. And I appreciate it. Thank you for the effort and the attention. Um, I always finish with Eshawn, and I'll finish again today. I'm not a New York rapper or LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Till we meet again.